Hello and welcome to the Happiness Within Tour with Mike P and Uncle B. This is the place where we try to find that elusive happiness from within. Shannon, Mike, and I invite people into our home and we talk about what are those traits that make people so happy all the time. On this episode, we find out that it's actually joy that we're talking about, not happiness. Whether you want to call it joy or happiness, we are so excited because Chef Michael Patillo is with us and he has brought his Maestro Chef products. Shannon gets a break while Chef Michael does our cooking for tonight. Not only that, we got an education on cooking and different behind the scenes restaurant things that take place. And don't forget that you're part of this conversation, so remember, like, share, and definitely comment. The Happiness Within Tour with Mike P and Uncle B, and What's Cooking with Shannon, and tonight, Chef Michael Patillo.
It has a high bake and a low bake. So you heat it up on high bake, and then you turn it to low bake, and it makes everything nice and even.
So that has to be wonderful for like cheesecakes and souffles
Yes,
and stuff like
perfect.
that. Oh
even
man!
Even a pizza, if you forget to put it on low bake, the back of it gets burnt, and the front of it doesn't get cooked. It's very weird. But anyways, what did you think?
Okay.
So, they're talking about all that, and we're just thinking, okay, what are we going to eat?
We're ready to eat.
They didn't have yellow squash, so we got two different kinds of zucchini and two different kinds of mushrooms.
Ooh, creminis and button whites. I like it.
So, and then I've got spring mix.
The spring mix, beautiful, beautiful.
Whatever you need.
Okay, so let's talk. Let me see here. Tomatoes. I see peppers.
I do have peppers. So I have, these are San Marzanos from the garden.
Okay.
If you want them.
I'm just funny in the way that I don't believe a salad is a salad unless there's something red in it.
Okay. That's fine.
That's just a personal thing.
These are, and I wish I had known. These are so good.
Oh, look, see, that'll work too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got some stuff, yes.
That'll be good. So if we have about 3 different colors for the salad,
Okay.
we'll have the chicken, that'll be like the brown, the green, and then the red, and then the peppers, and then I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, so I had no yellow because I was right there with you.
Okay.
I'm like, we need another color for
Well,
that.
what about onions? Do you have onions?
No, probably not because I don't do onions, so
Okay.
probably not. But I've got all different kinds of peppers.
That's okay.
Some red peppers there might be spicy.
Red cabbage. Do you have banana peppers? Or we could just use this. We can use this guy. We can use this guy. That'll be good.
Yep.
That'll be good. Okay, great. Michael's Manna. Michael's Manna LLC. My product line is Maestro Chef products. So I brought today, this is my soul fry, an all-purpose seasoned flour blend, okay? It's great for any sort of breading application. Think like the classic Southern fried chicken flavor profile, okay? I also have a gluten-free version of that. So it's the seasoning that you find in here, but without the flour. So we can add an alternative as well. Also, we have my other 3 spice line, or my other 3 items. This is my grill dust that was made for smoking meats, right? So any sort of protein is great for pork butts, it's great for brisket, it's great for ribs, it's great for chicken. We're gonna do it on some chicken tonight, and that'll be exciting. I'm very excited about that. And then it's meant to hit all 5 flavor sensations, but because it was made for pork, it's low in salt. So whenever I use it with chicken, I love to add a little black garlic salt in there. It's a great finisher. Think that nice full umami flavor profile. So for those that are not familiar with black garlic, think regular garlic, heated and fermented over a period of time, kind of develops a sweetness like balsamic and notes of tamarind in there. So it's a very specific flavor profile, points kind of in a specific direction, but I love it for finishing. It just adds that nice boost at the end. And then this is like my secret favorite child. This is my shallot sole. Okay? The shallot sole, I put on everything. I'm talking chicken, steak, fish, popcorn, eggs, macaroni and cheese, spaghetti, brown sauce, red sauce, white sauce. Pretty much everything but pancakes and cereal.
Yes.
All right, so it's a great addition to your pantry, and I think it'll be fitting all over the world.
I can't wait to try this one.
Which one's that?
Black garlic. I'm very excited about
That's
that.
actually interesting looking.
Yeah.
You know, I've never seen black
I
garlic.
don't.
See, a lot of people think that it is pepper in there, but it's literally just black garlic. From the heating and the fermenting, it kind of develops that sweetness, but it also kind of like cooks it, right?
yeah.
So that fermenting process turns it black. So when you touch the garlic, like when you touch raw garlic, it kind of has that not slimy feel, but it's like the it sticks to your fingers, right? This it's like sticky, like you gotta like peel it off of your, like almost gummy.
Huh.
When you get to the
I am so excited
black
about this.
garlic.
I
Oh
cannot
yeah.
wait for this one.
Yeah, the flavor is unbelievable.
What
Have you smelled it?
Oh, garlic is good garlic.
Not. It
there it
doesn't
is.
smell like, it's not potent like a garlic.
It's a little milder.
Yeah, it's a
but
little
you can
bit
get the sweetness.
Smoother.
Smoother. For sure.
Oh, I can't wait.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to. Let's see here.
Does anybody want water?
Yes.
Yeah, give him a water, please.
Okay. So we never put anything in a cold pan. That's not a thing. So we want to make sure that we heat our pan up properly. So I'll leave it up to this. Okay. So we can do the breast. Let's do the breast. I think that's probably a better option. Okay, and then I need a knife, which I see over here.
No. Use these here.
These are good knives. Okay.
Yeah, here's the better knives.
Okay.
See.
They just look pretty.
Right, so they're Henkel's, but with one stick man is no good. Two stick man is the one you want.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is you're gonna tell us like what you're doing,
Okay.
but we're gonna talk just general too. So you're gonna do it both.
You definitely guide the conversation because I'll get carried away.
Right. So you'll do that, and then we'll do it. Okay. So first of all, I want to know, how did you come up with all this? Like, how did it start? Like, how did you get into cooking?
So I've always loved to cook. When I was 8 years old, I made my first ramen noodles. Okay, and my sisters always remind me about how I had my glasses, and I was standing there watching the water boil. You know, I took my glasses off and I sat them on the stove, and then they melted. So I remember that. I think the pinnacle moment for me when I decided that I wanted to really cook. I was 14 years old, and my mom was preparing. Well, it was right around Thanksgiving time, and my mom had told me that she was going to not make homemade macaroni and cheese. She just wanted to. Do like craft macaroni and cheese. And I said, absolutely not. You buy the ingredients and I'll make the whole meal. You can coach me through it, talk me through it. And ever since then, I have been doing it. And so I had actually gone to school for music. And in me going to school for music, I still found my love for cooking. I was able to still do some cooking. And so I founded a gospel choir, believe it or not. And one of the things that we used to do for our holiday party was I would cook for the whole choir. And so, you know, we'd have this budget and I'd go and cook these things. And then I got a chance to cook for the president of my university. And as a result of that, it was kind of cemented at that point.
Wait. How did you get to cook for the president of the university?
I approached her and I said, how would you like me to make a meal for you and your team. And so I went to her house, and her administrative assistant and a few other faculty went there, and she gave me the money. You know, I'm a college student.
Right,
I have extra
yeah.
money. She gives me the money, and I go to the store. I go shopping, and I go over her house. And me and one of my roommates who left to cook, she was my sous chef for the evening, and we made like a port wine pot roast and.
Wow. Sit over here so you're on this camera. Because you're making good expressions. Okay, go ahead. Because he's telling these great stories. So go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna use this one for this.
Okay. So what is that? What are you using?
This is the spicy garlic Parmesan olive oil.
Okay. So wait, I have a question for you. What is a sous chef? Like I know, I hear that name. Like
So
what is
chef means head. Okay. Sous chef means assistant. Right?
Oh, okay.
So sous chef is the assistant head, right?
Okay.
So actually, when we wear our chef hat, our toque is what it's called.
Yeah.
The amount of folds that are in the hat signify how many different types of ways there are to cook eggs.
What?
What? Wait a minute, is his head still in there? Let me make
Yeah,
sure.
he's in there.
Okay, because I don't want to miss it.
There's 100.
I don't want to miss it.
There's 100 ways to
Make an egg.
make an egg.
If you need a hotter one, this one's hotter.
Excuse me.
This,
Yeah.
That's a good.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Let's do
if
that
you need
one.
hotter.
Let's do that one.
So the folds represent how many ways
There are to cook an egg.
and then how many folds you have is what rank you are, or no?
No. So that's just that's the history behind the amount of folds.
Oh,
in the
okay,
hat.
okay, okay. So there's nothing to do with it.
Right. But the hat, the tall hat in the kitchen was that way specifically because when, like in the old castles, when the castles would be raided by by their enemies,
Right.
and they would go in and like pillage the village, if you will.
Right.
They wanted to take the chef. That was one of the things, the hot commodities. And so the way to identify the chef or the head of the kitchen was to have the head. 'Cause normally the kitchen would be down in the basement. So when you would walk into the kitchen, you're looking down in there, and to see the chef, to identify them, you would identify them by the high hat.
Nice. I love the history. We're learning.
Yeah, like,
Okay, so wait. So real quick, because we didn't get it, show us the pan. What are you doing there?
So now
hold on.
yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, I just need to do this.
do I have some tongs?
No?
Yeah. So we never want to put anything in a cold pan. Okay. Think about a pan being like your skin. Okay, and how your skin is porous. So when you heat it, it opens up the pores. Okay. And so when you put the oil in there, that's how you prevent the product from sticking to the pan.
Ah, gotcha.
Okay. Now there's a few different ways that we would cook this, or a few different techniques. This is our searing technique. Okay, we're not burning it, but we're getting that nice blackening or nice sautéing on there. Okay. Okay, so we have our chicken. So, there you go.
So that was it.
Should I help you prep for the mushrooms or anything? Do you want help doing that?
No, I think people are impressed with the knife skills when it comes to that.
Oh, we got
I
knife
want to
skills.
see the knife skills.
Oh, we got knife skills, everybody. We got knife skills.
Yeah, so I can't do knife skills. Even if I bend my fingers, it doesn't work.
Okay, so
So we need another pan. Because I use this one to kind of do this here.
so real quick, you went for music,
I
correct?
went for music.
Okay,
And
and
along
then-
the way, I was able to cook for a lot of people, and everybody I think that was the first time that I cooked for the masses, right? Like I cooked for large amounts of people. So I'm frying chicken and making macaroni and cheese and doing pot roast, and we would have like a Friendsgiving at our house, and we would cook like the full Thanksgiving and all of the fixings. So we like brine a turkey and make the mashed potatoes and do the stuffing from scratch and the green beans, and I mean it'd be like for like 8 to 10 people in our house, and so it was just something that people
You did.
So let me ask you this. What is your favorite part about cooking? I know
That was going to be my
what
question.
mine is.
So, and I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna add to that question. So her question is, what's your favorite part of cooking? Our whole show, Mike and I, is about happiness from within and how to find that and what is that for people. So a lot of times I say when I'm singing, I kind of lose every problem, everything that's around because that's my thing. So when you cook, her question also, is that kind of what happens to you? Do you forget everything when you're cooking? Like, does that kind of become who you are and all the problems go away?
I'm gonna say yes. Yes. Because realistically, when I'm cooking, so I'll put it like this. When I went to culinary school, I knew how to fry chicken. Okay? But once I graduated from culinary school, I knew how to fry chicken in anybody's kitchen anywhere in the world. Okay? There's the difference of altitude, there's the difference of and then the different pieces, right? How do I achieve a nice golden brown piece of fried chicken breast, right? Versus a chicken wing. Everybody can fry a chicken wing if you know how to fry. I mean, that's another thing too, right? Is knowing what oil, being able to control the heat. I've heard many people say that the difference between a home cook and a chef is being able to control your heat, right? Wow. So knowing what it is that you're trying to achieve and being able to control your heat, right? So think about if I'm cooking, 35 slabs of ribs. I want my 35 slabs of ribs to be just as delicious as I'm cooking them at home when I only have to do one or two.
Oh, wow.
Which so different cooking for a lot of people.
It really is.
And when I first started cooking for me, you, and the kids,
yes.
Oh my gosh, it was like a whole different, even though it was just 5, it was a whole different learning experience as opposed to cooking for 1 or 2 people.
Right.
So, but now you got it.
Now I can do it. Now I can cook for the masses,
right.
Yes, because I've done it often.
You're good. So her question to you was, what is it
that makes you happy about cooking?
What do you enjoy about cooking?
So when I went to school and I learned the technique to cook, I think the thing that made it so good is that there is a way to get the best out of every food that you cook, right? There's a way to make the best sauteed zucchini, right? There's a way to make the best roasted chicken, right? And maybe it has to do with the seasonings, maybe it doesn't, right? There's a concept that's in the, like the spice capital of the world is India, right? And one of the seasonings that they're known for is the garam masala, right? But the garam masala is not the same one street over from, right? And then one village over. It's all the same ingredients, but in different proportions.
So I'm sorry, what are you saying? What is that?
So garam masala.
What is that? I don't know.
Garam masala
I know
is
sauce, penne, bow tie. Give me some Romano cheese, pecorino.
So think about it like this. So an Italian seasoning blend is not the same depending on the manufacturer.
Right.
Right? So McCormick may have it different than, what's it? My mind is going with D'Alessandro or something like that.
Anybody.
Right.
Yeah, they're all different.
Right. And so for me, when I make my pasta dishes or whatever the case is, I don't use an Italian seasoning blend because I want to use how much of what and what I put in
your own.
So I make my own.
Which is what you've done here.
Correct. So the garam masala, for example, is one of those things that you find where this family from this area makes it this way, and this family from this area makes it this way, right? And it's just because of the history and because of what was passed down from generations and what the ratios are and such and so forth. So for me, going back to making that perfectly roasted chicken, now I know how to control the heat. I know how to get to the end product of the chicken itself. And now we're talking about the seasonings, right? Now we're talking about what it is that I'm trying to effect in the other person.
So the garam
right?
masala is a seasoning.
The garam masala is a seasoning,
It's
right?
seasonings put together to make
It's, right, so it's like the coriander and the cumin and the cardamom and the pepper and all that type of stuff.
So it's like everything
right?
that would go into a sauce, and that's someone's sauce.
Right, right.
Okay.
So let's bring it home, right? So my mac and cheese would be, you know, in my family, it's the best mac and cheese, right? But your mac and cheese in your family would be the best mac
You
and
know, our
cheese.
sauce is
So,
different than
right.
everybody else's sauce.
But it's the same ingredients. It's the pasta, it's the milk ingredient, it's the cheese, it's the garlic. If you put garlic in there, it's the salt and the pepper and such and so forth. But it's the same ingredients, right? So my thing is when I'm cooking, I'm able to, if you do it well, you're able to transcend cultural norms or cultural
yeah.
expectations, right? Good mac and cheese is good mac and cheese, regardless if you're Russian, if you're Italian,
Right.
if you're African American,
Yeah, right.
if you're living up under a bridge. Good mac and cheese is good mac and
Right.
cheese, right? And that's one of the things that I loved over the course of my career is that I realized that the two most difficult groups of people to cook for are really young children and really old women, right? Young children, and I'll
I can
explain.
understand the children, but
I'll explain.
the old women.
Yeah, but the young children are very picky,
Yes.
right? So they
Yes.
want yellow mac and cheese. They don't care how delicious the white mac and cheese is and all the different things in it.
No.
If it's not yellow mac and cheese. And so my son said to me the other day, Dad, I love when you make your mac and cheese because it's baked in the oven and it's so, you know, it's
Right.
fantastic, right? But then the old women, right, specifically, are the ones that have been cooking for the last 30, 40 years, right? So I've been making this pot roast for the last 40 years and you think that you can make your pot roast better than mine. But good pot roast is good pot roast.
Right, a good part.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Good mashed potatoes are good mashed potatoes. It doesn't matter who you are, right?
Right.
So it's the concept of learning how to manipulate the food, right? There's a level of mastery to it, right?
Right.
The same way that Jose Canseco could get with that baton, you know, or
Right.
you know, LeBron James or you know, we don't
Just
get it.
you get-
But there's a
yes,
level
yes,
of mastery that goes into the art behind it, right? So me sauteing, you know, what is it like? A basketball in my hands is worth about, what is it called? I just bought 2 basketballs because my son is
Basketball,
it's about $39. About $39, right?
Right.
A basketball in LeBron James's hands is, you know, a couple million.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of thing. So a knife in my hand is worth a lot more than somebody that doesn't know. But I love to be able to get to that end result of just sitting down, and as I'm eating, I'm looking around, and I'm watching
That's
them
it.
smile.
So wait, there you go. Wait,
That's
go
it.
ahead. Go
That
ahead.
is exactly. So we
Yeah.
talked about this
Let me get out of your
before.
way.
Is that my pleasure cooking and cooking? No. My pleasure is watching everybody's face at the end. And the best compliment sometimes is no one saying a
Anything at all.
word.
Right.
No one talking.
I
no,
know.
and I'm
I
like,
just eat.
is it good?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
No, I
You know, they say in the Asian
Yes.
culture, the biggest compliment is their flatulence. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it just is something that's known among
Yeah.
them. Like, if you're flatulent, then it's good.
Yeah.
You know, hey, well, you know, because
So
think
my
about it,
belly
they're
liked
using,
it. My gut health.
yeah, I mean, they're using so much raw vegetables and things like
Right.
that. So, I mean, it makes
Right.
sense, right?
Yeah.
But
So
to
real
us,
quick, you made the chicken there, and then you put it in the oven. And how much?
I put it in the oven at 450 degrees
For how long?
for about, let's say, 7 to 10 minutes.
How long we been?
Okay, it's about 5 minutes so far.
Okay, because you don't know, but I did it to him, so you can't yell at me ever again.
What?
When I'm like, you're cooking that too long, it's gonna be dry. She's like,
There's an internal timer that we have
Yeah.
as a chef, right? You know, it's not gonna happen.
This one last time,
So-
like, you're burning the chicken. I'm like, it's not burning.
Yeah.
I'm putting a nice color on it.
So,
Here you go. I want to get you in it more.
Are you originally from the area?
so born and raised in Pittsburgh. I grew up in the Hill district, and you know we kind of moved around. And I lived in Homewood, and I lived in Wilkinsburg, and right now I live over by the zoo.
Okay.
But
What were you side?
yeah. East side is my side. Yeah, so I love
You're
these.
crossing the bridge because nobody ever crosses the bridge.
Oh, I know.
Did you ever notice
Yeah.
that? And
No,
there's like no one
you
crosses
stay
the
on
bridge.
that side?
Yeah.
I was over on that side today. Man, I hate being on this side of Squirrel Hill Tunnels.
Yeah.
I want to be over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
the
People don't
weirdest
cross, I don't know
thing.
why people don't cross the bridge.
I don't either.
They don't cross the bridge, they don't cross the tunnel. Mm-hmm. Pittsburgh people, don't you notice that? Like
Yeah.
South, say south,
Yeah.
north, say
Yeah.
west, they all do. And I don't know why.
Yeah, my family, like my mother's family, all lives in the south side, like Knoxville, Carrick
Yeah.
area.
Right.
And I only go over there when I'm intentionally
See?
seeing it.
You
have
They
to,
say,
right.
you know, if you're ever in the Beltsuver area, I'm never in the Beltsuver area. There's never a time, you know, all the stuff that's over there is over here.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
like if I, like my wife, she goes, well, when we go shopping, let's go to North Hills. I'm like, why? Let's go to Monroeville. It's the same
It's the same
distance.
distance. And it's the
You
same
know?
It's
stuff.
just because you have to go through
Yeah,
the city
traffic.
of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just a pain.
Yeah, so, all right, so we have two different sizes of mushrooms. So for the purpose of tasting, I'm gonna go with, we're gonna quarter some of the, I apologize if I open this different than how you
That's
open
how
it.
I open it.
Okay.
That's exactly how I put it. Do you?
Yeah.
What is your take on washing mushrooms?
So it grows in
Yes.
fecal matter, so
Right.
yes, that's
Well,
mushroom.
I've seen people wipe them off. I've seen people wash them, and I wash them because that's just weird to me that you wouldn't wash them.
Yeah, we'll put them in a strainer if you have a colander or some of sorts, right? So, I don't want to get too deep into this, but every knife has a fulcrum, right? And so I'm saying this because there was a time I have a mark. If I take my glove off, I have a mark where I cut my finger down literally to the bone. Okay, while I was quartering mushrooms because somebody came in the kitchen screaming, being silly, and completely distracted me. So I say that to say that there is a way to control the knife and to make sure that the knife doesn't, you know, fall out of your hand and that sort of thing, right? So we grab it either here or right at the tang, and if you see, I'm not squeezing, I'm just have enough pressure to hold it balanced. If I do that same thing here, it doesn't stay. Obviously, if I do that same thing here, it doesn't stay. So I can, you know, depending on the size of your hand, you can either on the handle, on the tang, or on the blade. I like to do it right in front of the handle because my hands are so big, and I just wrap my hands around like that, right? And so naturally, you know, like I'm conducting a symphony, right? But naturally, if I put my hands up like this, that's the direction of the knife. So I'm going to turn at a 45-degree angle, and that's going to have me parallel with the edge of the board, right? So if I'm making straight cuts, you have that there. So that gives me, you know, some safety in terms of space and all that kind of stuff because it's going to be kind of naturally placed in the middle of the board. So for here, I'm cutting in between my fingers, and I'm rolling there for the quarter. Right? Now, if I'm doing a case of these, you're going to see this happen a lot faster. Right? So this is the
How
same
fast can you
technique.
cut?
So I'll show you.
Well, the good thing
You want to see it too?
So-
You want to see it too, right? I'm gonna show you.
which is why you're on knives. The reason we don't have really good knives in this house is because I don't want them.
Is she talking in this?
It's been an offer.
Okay.
It's been an offer. If went to buy them, the whole bit, you know, good set of knives, real sharp. I will cut myself, and I will cut myself bad. So I don't want them. That's the best, sharpest knife that I can deal with because when I hit my finger, I stop.
I think chefs might argue with you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay, and the reason is when you get used to using a sharp knife. When you get used to using a sharp knife, if the knife is dull, you're wanting to put more pressure down, right? So you kind of hurt yourself more with a dull knife than you would if it was a sharp knife, right? I've used knives so sharp that I cut myself and didn't even know it until I seen it.
So have I. And that's
Right?
that's
And that is
scary.
dangerous. It's a little
Yes,
scary.
It's very scary.
It's a little
right?
scary.
This scar right
So-
here, it was. That's what I did.
There he goes.
Right? So I'm normally not like I'm slicing like this, you know, for the purpose of the camera. You may do this for stir fry. I may be julienning onions like that for like French onion soup or something like that. But I'm normally not cutting at that speed. It's not necessary unless I'm doing like, you know, a 5-gallon bucket full of onions, which in a hotel type situation I am doing. Right? So I'm looking to basically get it all the same thickness, right? Because we want it to cook around the same amount of time, right? So this is, I mean, this is probably going to take a little bit longer to cook than that, but it is like a sponge, right? Mushrooms are like sponges, which is why it's so good to watch them. Okay, so like a nice rough chop. And if you notice, I'll do one more. If you notice that when I'm cutting, and this is again for safety purposes, is I am cutting to get a flat surface. Okay? So that way when I do cut, this isn't moving. Okay? It's staying in one place, right? So then I have this sort of situation, right? Whereas, because mushrooms are round, and then if you're trying to roll it, and then you that's when you cut yourself really bad. So there you go.
So you started college,
Mm-hmm.
and then did you, right out of college, start working as a chef?
No, so what happened is my mom got sick, okay, and she had a stroke, and my older sister was in law school, my younger sister was in her master's degree at Syracuse, and nobody wanted to go home. And so I'm like, well, my mom can't, you can't live by yourself. I was like a semester away from graduating, and I said, well, I gotta go home, it's my mom, so I went home. And so my plan was to kind of take a semester off and relax a little bit and get a job and get some money saved up, and I was going to go to like IUP and just drive the distance. But just out of curiosity, because I love to cook, some ads popped up on Facebook or whatever the case is, and I just filled in some information, just purely to, kind of gain some information. And so they had an open house. So I said, okay, and they kept calling, okay, I'll come down for an open house, okay. And as a matter of fact, I was on a manager track program at I was going to be, I was about to start the manager and training program, and the general manager just was like dragging his feet, and it just wouldn't happen. So I said, well, I'm going to go down and just inquire.
Where was this at?
This was at Le Cordon Bleu in downtown Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Oh, wow, okay.
So I went down there, and I tell you, when I walked in that room and I saw the shiny steam kettles and the pots hanging from the ceilings and the chef knives and the saute pan, I mean, I was in love. I knew immediately this is what I need to be doing, right? And I walked in there and I saw the chef making this huge vat of gumbo. And I'm like, what are you doing? This is amazing. I'm like so excited. I'm like, yes, this is everything I want. And so, at the time, I was a server, and I was good at serving. And I said at the time I wanted to like open a restaurant and all of that type of stuff. And I knew that I wanted to do cooking in some way, shape, or form. But when I went into the
So this is Le Cordon Bleu.
Yes.
What is that?
Le Cordon Bleu, Institute of the Culinary Arts.
So it's okay. Just so
Yeah, we're gonna let this go.
you know that. Okay, so Le Cordon Bleu is the Institute of Culinary Arts.
So this is good.
Okay.
But for the purposes, I know some people, there's like that sweet spot of doneness for chicken, right? Chicken is done at 157 degrees, but a lot of people won't eat it at 157 degrees, right? Because it's still a little soft. At 165, it's the firmness that we're used to.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that's a question. Why has chicken, or what has happened to chicken?
Wait. Okay, go ahead.
That it has turned into this.
Wait, a million questions for him.
So I purposely buy chicken that has not been injected with anything, blah, blah, blah. But every now and then I'm starting to get these pieces that are rubbery.
Mm-hmm.
Is it my cooking, or is it something with the chicken?
Are you buying organic chicken like you're buying all the time? Like this?
No. So you don't buy organic chicken, then it has that. That texture is weird. I know what she's saying.
We started buying this because we were buying the Purdue.
Yes, like an eraser. Yeah.
Purdue that doesn't have anything in it, blah, blah, blah. And all of the pieces will be good, except for one.
And it's a little weird and it tastes,
chewy. I can't stand it.
So, I mean, that's why you get like, if you get range fed chicken, if you get the organic chicken, if you get the, you kind of know, like farm raised chicken, stuff like that, then you're going to get what you're used to, right? But when you're growing chicken for the masses, right, and they're kind of like stuffed in these little spaces, and they just have just enough room to turn around and you use the facilities, and you're having the hens lay the eggs, and that's all they do is
That's such a shame.
yeah, and so there's the hormones in there. There's the there's all kinds of things in there. The growth hormones and things like that. So one thing that I teach when I teach about healthy cooking and nutrition is the things that are injected in the food, right? So like say you go, perfect example, you go to the store and you get orange juice, and you're looking at the bottle of orange juice and it says with added vitamin D. Okay, orange juice doesn't naturally have vitamin D in there, right? So although the vitamin D is in there, your body is not processing it the same way as if there's something naturally occurring, right? Like drinking milk or eating ground beef, right? Ground beef has, or not ground beef, but beef as a whole has vitamin D in it, right? Or sitting out in the sun, right? And so all of the processing that's not done in the body, whatever processing is done outside of the body, it makes it like less healthy for you, right? Because then your body just kind of stores it right away. Another example would be bread, right? If you have whole grain or whole wheat bread, right, that has the bran and the germ and the endosperm, right? To explain that to you, think of a popcorn kernel, okay? The germ, when you plant the seed, is what sprouts, okay? The endosperm is the white part that pops, right? That's the part that we eat, right? And the bran is the brown part when you're looking at popcorn kernel, right? So when you have enriched or processed things, right, especially when it comes to whole grain things, the outer part and the inner part is removed. And so now all you have is the endosperm, which is just carbs, which turns into sugar in your body. And when you eat too much sugar, then it stores in your fat cells, right? And so then people say, sugar makes you fat. Sugar doesn't make you fat. Sugar gives you a false sense of appetite, which makes you want to eat more. And then the higher caloric intake, in turn, makes you fat.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All that good stuff there.
So you can have that cookie.
You can't have
He brought
us cookies. He brought us cookies.
So I was thinking about my son, right, who's 5 years old. We don't allow them to eat a lot of junk, but they eat it and then they run it off.
Yeah, they burn
those calories, right? We in America live sedentary lifestyles.
We do.
Yeah.
Our lifestyle is sitting at the computer and hours of paperwork, and we may make millions and millions of dollars, but we're all fat and unhealthy.
And now the thing about it, with Amazon, people don't have to go out shopping. So really the only exercise most people are getting is going to the mailbox and coming back.
Yeah,
That's like your exercise. That's why you need to walk with Uncle B every day.
Yes.
Walk with Uncle B.
What a quick plug.
I like that. Walk with Uncle B every day.
You should do it. You should do it.
You should. So back to the school. So you went into the school. You saw this. You were just like in awe.
That's gonna.
And what happened? So what did you sign up? Like what happened?
Well,
so this was it a meeting that you went to?
No, it was an open house.
It was an open house. Okay.
And so we went into we did a tour of the school, and then we all sat down for the dean of students to do this. Like, I think he was talking to the room, and then he did like this demo on like a side of beef.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So immediately they said, so after that was finished, they said, well, you can go and, fill out your FAFSA form and, apply and everything. And I had no intention of applying when I went down there. It was literally just to see what it was and to stop them from calling me every 5 minutes, right? So I went in there, and once I left the demo room, I'm like, this is it. I don't have to think about it. It was the best decision I've made.
22-ish.
And that was it.
I was 24, 25, something like
So for
that.
your college, what else?
Yeah.
Take care of
Yeah.
them.
So now you found your, what I call the corner of the sky. You found your corner of the sky. This is what I want to do. Win, lose, pass, fail. I'm going to be a chef.
Yes. So what I did was I put this in there. I wasn't thinking, but I put this in there a little bit too early. There is a little activity going in here, but then what's going to happen is this is going to be more of sweating the mushrooms than actually sautéing, which is not a bad idea because we have the really good flavored oil here. So let's go with it.
Do you want a bigger pan? Or is that
These are gonna cook down so beautifully. So we're gonna pull the chicken out now. Good to go. Yes. That's what we want there. You smell that?
Smells good.
Yeah,
You smell that?
Let me get that.
Yeah.
Get a little shot here. And what spices are on this one?
That is just the grill dust. Okay? Take a whiff of that guy.
Oh, that's good.
This is the shallot salt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. This is what we're gonna.
Okay.
So, show me, where's the grill dust at?
Yeah. So the grill dust was made to hit all 5 flavor sensations. We have some sweet, salty, bitter, sour, and umami in there.
When you say, and is you're saying, what are you saying? Edamame?
Umami.
Umami. What's
So
that?
let me let's okay. If this is your tongue, okay, your your salty sensation is on the tip. Don't if I mess this up, just don't crucify me, right? Your salty sensation is on the tip of your tongue. Your sweet is here, okay. Your sour is here, and your bitter is here, okay.
Right.
Your umami is that spot in the middle, okay. The umami, UMAMI, okay, that flavor profile is what you find when you're dealing with portobello mushrooms, right? Soy sauce, things like that. That full mouth, like meaty flavor profile.
We all like different,
Right.
Right.
different types of things.
Okay, so, now, the next thing I want to know is, I have all these questions, don't you have any questions?
I'm just amazed. The food
You
stuff
had
is just over
so
my
much to
head.
say when I was cooking.
What
I
kind
was
of a-
burning, I was
Yeah.
I
doing
never
this,
said
I was
anything about
doing-
burning.
What kind of, like, it's, you know, it's Uncle, it's Mike P and Uncle B, like, pick up your weight here, talk. No, I do have another question. So you ended up going to the school, correct? And then take it from there. What happened?
So I went to the school, I signed up for classes, and I started. I mean, like I went down there literally just for information.
So you're home living with your mom.
I'm home with my
You're
mom.
back, you're taking care of your
I
mom
was-
and going to school,
I was working,
right?
and like I said, the manager track was taking a little bit too long. So I went down, signed up for school. I told them, hey, I'm going to school, got to change my schedule. So I ended up leaving. Once I started working down at Le Cordon Bleu, or going to Le Cordon Bleu, and I got a job funny story, I worked for free for 3 days at Carnegie Mellon University. Okay? Didn't, like, full 8-hour days thinking that I'm getting paid for this. And I did not, right? I did eventually, but it was a complete misunderstanding. So, one of my buddies, look at that, it's like absorbing the flavor, and you see oh, it's so good.
Wow, that's delicious.
Yeah.
So satisfying.
You have to do that one more time.
I'm not saying anything.
And go.
Yeah, we got the creminis in there, and the white button mushrooms in there, and it's sucking up the shallot salt and the flavored oil. It's going to be
Smells
delicious.
Excellent.
Yes.
Like, this is unbelievable.
So, my buddy
You can't
says,
smell it. And I'm so sorry. I know we say, have a seat at our table and join us for dinner. And it's so sad that you can't eat or eat. But take it from us. We'll tell you how good it is. Go ahead.
so my buddy who I was in culinary school with said, go to the Cordon Bleu, or go to CMU and ask for Chef Ryan, okay? I go there, it's like commencement weekend or something, right? It is crazy. It's the biggest kitchen I've ever been in. People were like, literally, my workstation is here, somebody's workstation is right there, somebody's workstation is right there. It's ridiculous. Now, I'm the new guy. I'm looking for Chef Ryan. Chef Ryan is nowhere to be found. So I stand over against the wall with my knife kit in my Le Cordon Bleu get-up with my checkered pants on, my hat, and I'm standing there looking like a noob, standing in the corner, just watching these people, and these guys are like slicing down whole cases of pineapple, and it's like stacked up with all kind of fruit, and I'm looking over there, and these guys are breading chicken, and these people are running the food out, and these people have these displays, and I'm just watching, right? So the chef that's like one of the sous chefs or the chef de cuisine. Okay, chef de cuisine basically means that chef de cuisine basically means that this chef is the head of a certain division of the kitchen, right? So that food service program had another food service building where they had pizzas and all kinds of stuff. But for the purposes of this story, this guy came over. So this guy comes over to me and goes, "Do you need something to do?" And I said, "Yeah, of course. I'm here. Why not?" He says, "I'm going to give you 50 pounds of potatoes, and I just need you to cut them." So I don't think that he thought that I was going to be as good as I was. He gave me about literally this much space, right next to a garbage disposal. Okay, I had my bag of potatoes sitting up here. He gave me a bucket on the floor to put the potatoes in once I cut them, and that same way with the mushrooms.
Oh my God.
So he didn't expect it, right? He had no idea. So he comes over to me. He goes, "Whoa, that's way too many potatoes." I'm like, well, I mean, I was in a corner by myself. It was pretty interesting. Oh, look at that! And the juice that it released, it's wonderful. So these are done, and we're gonna go into the pan that we had the chicken in because that's gonna absorb some of the flavor. I'm gonna wash my hands.
Kitchen. That I don't want to interrupt here, but I mean, I can understand. I'm not a chef in any way, shape, or form.
Sure, go ahead.
But my wife Nancy and I were able to go. We love cruising, quite honestly. So whenever we're on a cruise ship, yes, they gave us. We were able to take a tour of their kitchen. When you're talking about the gumbo,
wow!
Man, you're talking about these freaking vats of soup. Another station had all the desserts. Oh my lord! You don't have to be a chef. If you're a chef, you're drooling over this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my lord!
So you got to see the whole kitchen.
Yes, we had a tour of the kitchen.
That is so.
I think they were talking like 10,000 meals per that week. I mean, some unbelievable number. And like Mike was saying, everything is just absolutely perfect for all those guests.
It's completely regimented.
So you watched Bear,
I have watched Bear a little bit.
and is it realistic in its approach? Have you watched Bear yet?
No.
Yeah, yes.
I love the show. We love it.
Yeah.
We love the show.
Yeah, yes and no. I think there was a show back in the day. It got canceled, but the show was called Kitchen Confidential. And
sounded better.
Yeah.
Kitchen Confidential. My goodness.
He may not talk a lot, but when he comes up with them, he does come up with her.
Yeah.
Kitchen Coffin sounds better.
But that kitchen, or what I like to see in the movie Chef with Bradley Cooper.
Yes.
Correct. That sort of regime with the high level, with the 5-star.
Yes.
Like the Waldorf Astoria, those really prestigious type kitchens. That's how that's working, right? You have the executive chef.
Yep.
Then you have the executive sous chef, right? Then you have an executive sous chef. Mostly is going to be the one standing at the front of the kitchen, barking the orders, right?
Okay.
They're calling. I need a fish. I need a chicken. I need a side of vegetables. I need the salad. Where's this? They're doing the expediting, right? They're the ones that's putting the plates together. Then you have the chef de cuisine, the chef de cuisine, which has the role over different sections, right? They may be in charge of the fish station. They may be in charge of the vegetable station. You may have the chef de cuisine that's in charge of the patisserie or the dessert station. You may have just the entremetier, which is the sides. Okay.
Do we get myself?
Yeah, then you have the commies or the that sounds.
Yeah.
That's the technical name for them. But you have the line cooks, right? That are there. And
Only in America.
Only around the comments.
Yeah. And even in there,
I feel like Archie Bunker right now. Archie Bunker. It sounds like an episode. And then you have the commies.
Something I don't know. I know it's chess. I'll tell you something that you don't know. that there's a commie game.
Chess is a commie game.
See, you didn't know that.
Yeah.
But go ahead. That's
But you have I mean, it's regimented. So you have the line cook 1, 2,
Okay.
3, and then, it's based on experience and skill level and things like that. So your line cook 1 or your commie 1 may be the one that's running to gather the stuff from the cooler, right? If you run out of the diced onions or whatever, cook 3 or the chef de partie isn't going to get it. They're going to send that, and then you also have the dishwasher. You also have the dishwasher.
So
you have
hard.
such and so forth, right? So I mean, it's
amazing.
So that system was created by Escoffier, Gustave Escoffier, and so anybody that knows anything about a professional kitchen has heard of the name Escoffier. He is the grandfather of the regime or the regimented system that you find in the kitchen now. He's the one that organized it all, and he's attributed to the kitchen being the way that it is. So on that cruise ship, it has to follow that sort of
Hierarchy.
flow. That flow of service. Otherwise,
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we would always be on like one sort of class of ships. Always did Royal Caribbean cruise line.
Royal Caribbean.
When they bounced up to the Oasis class, that larger class, relatively young ship, and we were on that boat, and I noticed the complete chaos
Really?
between the folks that were serving, trying to figure out the kitchen, and it was brand new. I mean, the size of the ship was, you got 10,000 people on this ship, including staff. I mean, you have 7,000 guests. And
I mean, the idea,
different approach for the folks that were serving, going into that kitchen.
So it would take somebody that understands the inner workings of the system to be able to multiply that. Right? It's a concept, and that's what Escoffier did. Is he established a concept that can be multiplied. So if you have and now, although I was a server, I don't know that there was somebody that organize the front of house like that, but you have like your banquet captain and you have your head server and things like that. But if the chef is good enough, right? If the chef is knowledgeable enough, they're going to have their hands in that as well, right? They're going to have their hands and know specifically, because if I as a chef have planned the whole menu, I know what I want my flow of service to be. Okay, there's going to be 2 to 3 minutes, right? So, like Applebee's, for example, they have this down to a science.
Really?
You have a minute and a half to greet the person to get the drink. If they used to do this. Well, they used to have to give people free meals because part of the experience for lunch was they would give you a timer, and if your meal was a second later than 14 minutes, you got free food.
Really?
Okay. From the time that your entree was taken away, you had 7 minutes I believe it was 7 minutes to receive your dessert. Right? You had 30 seconds for your table to be greeted. From the time that you sit down, if I'm busy and I'm stuck at a table of 30 people, then somebody has to come around and greet you and take your drink order. Right? There's a science behind this.
Wow.
So you don't realize that when you go to a high-end restaurant that it's timed, right? Maybe take a timer and look at it.
So your whole experience is already timed.
Correct.
They know what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. They should have a game plan. So that level of chaos speaks to them still learning.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? It's not a matter of that it wasn't in place. It's that they're still learning. And so they're brand
It
new.
was a new system for people that came from some of the different ships.
Okay.
Right.
Now, I can also say I've been on those size ships after the fact. Clockwork. Absolute clockwork. Yeah.
So there you go. So, all right. So
And that made me happy.
well, yeah, because it's like,
I mean, listen, things that we take for granted. Things that we take for granted are the things that differentiate the level of service, right? Like a server coming to the table and auctioning off food is not a sign of professionalism, right?
Right.
When I say auction off food, what I mean is if I come to the table and say, who had the chicken with the potatoes? Right? A really good server is gonna know, even if you have to write it down, right? There's some people that I remember everything. I would rather you write it down and mark it on your pad versus coming back and I'm in the middle of a conversation. Maybe we're in a business meeting. Maybe I'm proposing to the love of my life.
That's
Right?
Right.
And you come back and I say, hey, did you have the, sir?
Yeah.
You see, then it's just not. It's not good.
Right.
It's not good.
No, there really should be nowadays. I was typing this at a place that I was at. Server etiquette because
Yes.
that's right out
Exactly.
the right
Exactly.
out the
Everything else in
door.
today's world.
Right out the door now.
It is terrible.
Yeah. That'll make you break it too.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
God,
you
they did
went
that.
to
Never
school.
back. Never.
We're
back.
bringing this back. We're bringing this back in. Gotta bring
Sure.
it back in. So you went to school. You graduated from there?
I didn't. Well, from my undergrad, I did not. But I graduated from the Cordon Bleu. I did. Yes.
Yes. So you
At the top
graduated
of
from
my
Cordon Bleu.
class.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So you graduated from Cordon Bleu, and then tell us how it unfolded. So you're still taking care of your mom,
Still taking care of my mom. Graduated from the Cordon Bleu.
but at this point, are you like pretty much the happiest you've been? Not, I know your mom is sick, but I'm saying as far as you and
Well, we
feeling-
kind of developed a dynamic there, right? So she was sick. She had her stroke, but it was kind of just maintenance at that point, right?
Right, okay.
We had to kind of develop a routine. We had to adjust the food that she was eating. We had to make sure that she was getting to her doctor's appointments and things of that sort. So that was okay. That had gotten kind of like
Okay.
to a good kind of rhythm
Right.
going on.
But as far as your self-esteem, what you want to find out of life, where you think you're going, your direction,
I think I could have been. I
landed.
couldn't have been happier. I could have been happier.
Cool. Very cool.
Aside from my relationship with God, that was like the moment that when I'm looking around and I'm cooking in these kitchens, right? So here's the kicker. So at the end of culinary school, we had to get an externship, okay? And I had on my list I think I had 3 places. If I couldn't get into the one, then I would go to the first, second,
Right.
third choice. My first choice was Nemacolin.
Okay.
My second choice was Hershey.
Oh, we just left her.
Yeah, and my third choice was I'm like, if I can't get Nemacolin and I can't get Hershey, then I'll just stay where I am. It was a great kitchen. It would have worked. It
In
would have been
Pittsburgh?
at CMU. It
Oh,
would've worked.
okay. So
Yeah.
wait. So you did the CMU thing for free. and then you ended up working at CMU?
Yeah. So here's what it was.
Oh, okay. You didn't
So
tell
I'm
us
so
that
sorry.
part.
So I'm there and I'm working at CMU, and after I finish the potatoes, they gave me another job, and I go down and I'm serving the lines and all of the faculty's going through and such and so forth. We'll see you tomorrow, at such and such a time. Make sure you write your name and your time on the sheet. I said okay, right? Next day, come in. All right, this is what you're doing. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going through it.
I can see what's
It's good, right? I write it down. Friday comes in, because that was Wednesday. Friday comes in. We do this thing, and they go, all right, so we're going to submit the thing. Okay, so what company do you work for?
George saying, "Who is this guy?"
I'm like, I don't work for anybody. I was here. I was told to see Chef Ryan. So Chef Ryan, at this point, is the one that's asking me which company I
Company you
work
work
for.
for.
And I'm like, well, I was told to come see you. So the executive sous chef is sitting in there watching this, or listening to this. I guess he's working on a computer. And he turns around and says, "You've been working for free for the last 3 days?"
Oh my gosh.
And so they're dying of laughter, and it's a huge story, and I'm like, so what do I do now? And they're like, well, you obviously got the job. You keep coming back, So they sent me down to HR, and it was a great time. And so I worked there for the entirety of my culinary school career. I learned so many things. And so I got to the best part of that. That was probably my favorite job out of all the jobs I've owned, aside from me owning my own company.
Right.
It's probably my favorite job. So this is what we're looking for. I'm so sorry. I'm going to turn your attention to here.
Wait.
This is what we're looking for when we're going to saute. Right. Every single oil has a smoke point. Right. And if you notice that the smoke is coming up now, for those that are novices, they may, oh my goodness, the pan is too hot. This is what we're looking for, because when I put this in there, it's going to be a temperature change. Okay, and so, right, you hear that sizzling sound? That lets me know that that's the temperature that I want it to be. Okay, now for your purposes, you need to understand that, like I said, remember I said that when you're cooking, the difference between a home cook and a professional cook is being able to control your heat. If you can't deal with it that high, you don't want to have it that high. Okay? So for what we're doing now, we're going to use the black garlic soap. And that's all we're going to use on the zucchini.
No regular salt?
There's only 2 ingredients in here. It's black garlic and kosher sea salt. Okay? That's all it is. So it's an infused flavored soap. That's all I'm using. Okay, and I'm kind of going heavy because I want you to see it. Okay, I want you to see it, and I want you also to be able to taste it. It's undeniable that you're gonna taste it. It's gonna be delicious. Okay, it's black garlic and kosher sea salt. That's all it is. This was actually one of the practicals on in our cooking class, was to be able to saute zucchini.
It's not easy to do.
Yes.
People think it's really easy to do, and it's not.
Yeah.
It turns into water in
It turns
like
into
a half
water.
a second. Yeah.
Now look at the color on that, right? Just the black garlic in there, and the how it kind of caramelized, and how and this is the doneness that we're looking for.
It's a very nice golden brown.
You know that feeling that you had when you walked into Le Cordon Bleu? You're giving me that feeling like I want to go back to school and cook. I enjoy cooking, but I enjoy, the masses enjoying
And what
the
about the
food.
science of it? There's
That's the amazing
Yeah,
I
right.
didn't realize the science of. There's science.
I mean, I love eating, but
There's science.
Yeah.
It's not just.
listen,
it's not just mixing together.
Do I
It's
enjoy
telling you
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 right
don't want it to
now-
be this hot before
Yeah.
you put the zucchini in, because it's going to change the temperature. So all those things, it's like a science. So we used. Wait. Oh, here it is. So this is the black garlic salt.
The black garlic salt, yes.
Yep.
smells great.
So wait, where can everybody get these? This is like through the plug.
Yes, so www.michaelsmanna.com/shop, as well as Shop and Save in Monroeville, the Wilkins Township Shop and Save. The Pennsylvania Macaroni Company has my black garlic soap and the shallot soap. Strip District Meats has my grilled dust on their shelf.
Okay.
Tom Fridays has my, in Brighton Heights, they have my soul fry.
You know where Tom Fridays is, right?
Yeah.
No, where's
South
something?
California.
California, yeah.
Inside. Little,
Really?
little
Yep.
place
Okay.
in
Yep,
All
great.
right.
It's one of the best butchers in the city.
I didn't know we had a butcher still in the city.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, one of the
Okay.
best butchers. So, Tom Fridays has my shallot soap, my black garlic soap, my grilled dust, and my soul fry. Community Market at the end of Bloomfield Bridge has my grilled dust, my shallot soap, and my black garlic soap, and they're just waiting on me to bring a case of the soul fry, and they'll have all four.
And everybody, these are all places in Pittsburgh. But so if you're watching us on YouTube, there is a link in the description that you can then order everything online, and you don't. So you're saying that this takes all the guesswork out of preparing the meal.
Right.
And, and these are your blends. Like
Correct.
you designed these blends.
Correct. So, I mean,
So how do you go from...
They each have a genesis, right? They were. So I could understand how some people say, some people ask me, well, do you have a flavor profile that's good for the Mexican community? Well, no, right? Not specific for that, because all of these things I made they all have their own origin story, okay? The soul fry, for example, when I was the executive chef at, I had to make like 200 pounds of chicken every other week. Okay, and again, the two most difficult people to cook for the really old ladies and the young children. And those really old ladies, and listen, anybody that works, back this up, okay? They are the most difficult people to cook for.
Oh, no, I have to edit this.
I'm just saying. Now, the thing is, though, is it made me
I don't want to edit it, but I have to edit it.
It made me a better chef. It made me a better chef.
Oh, maybe I'm not going to edit. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Because-
So they're not difficult. They are
Challenging.
challenging. They're challenging. He didn't mean difficult. All you.
We'll be diplomatic about it. No, but they really are challenging. Okay?
Because they are, their palates
Seasoned.
are very
Specific.
Yes.
Now, but you got
Huh?
to think about it, like
They're
because they're older, because they're seasoned, right? The medication
They have
that they
seasoned
take,
palates, yes.
medication that they take affects their palates, right?
Right.
So some of the taste sensations go away. So depending on how much of the medication you take, the last thing that's sticking around is a sweet. That's why they want to eat the cakes and all that type
Oh,
of
that's
stuff.
true, right?
Yeah,
That's what they can taste.
Yeah, that's what they can taste.
Explanation.
There's my explanation for me why I like cakes so much. I've liked cakes since I was 5.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, but it's really good though. I mean, it's so having to do that. You know, as a batch cook, right? That if you make a batch of chicken here, and then the next time you make that batch, you don't know what the ratios were that you used, and the first time it was extra delicious,
God.
and then the second time you're like, what in the world did I do? It was so good, I can't get it back. You know.
So that's it. We tell the story, and my son Enzo says it all the time. Write it down or take a picture as you go, because every time you make something, we know we're never going to taste that same thing again because you don't remember what you did.
Right, and
She
so
doesn't know.
literally that's how Soul Fry was born.
She never knows.
Right. So when I was in culinary school,
So Soul Fry takes that out because it's already there.
Yep. So Soul Fry, when I was in culinary school, they said this is seasoned flour. They gave me a cup of flour. Sorry. They gave me a cup of flour, a teaspoon of salt.
It's like he's looking at it right now.
Because I'm like, I can't. The ridiculousness of it, I can't wrap my head around it. A cup of flour, a teaspoon of salt, and like a quarter teaspoon of pepper. And this is the seasoned flour that you're going to use to brown your meat or whatever. And I'm like, there's no way. Where's the rest of the seasoning?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here, right? And so for years, so now that put me on a journey to find the perfect blend. And so I worked at a number of different places, and I ended up at this place, and the chef was there, and he had this avocado dust that he had made, and I just loved it. It wasn't good for all things, but it was good for that. So I kind of, took a little piece of this and a little piece of that and a little piece of that. And that was like the base of it. And so over the course of the next like 3 or 4 years, I was playing with the ratios and this and that and the third. And so when it came to me wanting to put the fried chicken on the menu, I said, I'm going to perfect this flour. And so I went and I took and I did a bunch of different batches and I said, guys, taste this. I took it home and let my wife taste it and my sister taste it and everybody taste this. And when I finally got it to the place of where it is now, I use that for my fried chicken. I use it for my pork chops. I use it for chicken parm. I use it for chicken romano. I use it for sauteing shrimp. I use it for any sort of breading application. I use it for browning pot roast, for doing
That's this one.
yeah. Yeah. And so that was the origin story of that. The grill dust
Good.
was made because we got this like old Chinese smoker, right? Just this big metal box, and we cleaned it out and we got the rust out of it and really, took care of it. And so we were grilling and smoking whole pork butts and briskets and chicken and ribs and all these different things. And so I let my guys come up with the spice. And so when I tasted it, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. But I want to take it home, and I just believe that we can come up with something that is like a full mouthfeel. And so that was my goal, to hit all 5 flavor sensations. So there's some mushroom in there for the umami. There's some lemon in there for the sour. There's some cumin in there for the earthiness, right? and then even some sassafras for a little bit of the bitterness, right? And so
And that's in the grill dust.
yeah, it's in the grill dust, and all of that is on the label. I'm not giving away my recipe, but it's all on the label.
It's all
for you.
like, I
Yeah, because I was looking at this
So
one.
you
and it
have
says
cooked.
spices.
mean, like for the masses.
Spices.
Really? But so you came out of school, Carnegie Mellon. Was that the masses, and then, or you were saying you go straight to the masses?
So Carnegie Mellon, while I was in there, we had a premium dining room that fed 250 people every single day for dinner, every single day.
And you had the
And I had the privilege. That's exactly what it was. It was the privilege because see, and this is why I said this was my favorite job. The chef gave me a calendar. Well, I mean, and it was union, so I was like on the bottom of the totem pole. But the cook one let me do what I wanted to do. So the chef gave us a calendar, and he said on Tuesday it's chicken, green vegetable, and potato, and you can do whatever you want to do
as long as you do that.
That's all I needed. I needed the freedom to just do that. And then they introduced me to the guy that buys all the things. So I said, oh yeah, I need you to get me this, I need you to get me that, I need you to get me this, I need you to get me that.
Right.
And so, I mean, it was my favorite thing for 250 people. You know, I learned certain things, like, it was because of that job that I really learned how to make French toast right? I learned how to do French omelets on the flat top. But it was such an awesome experience, and I remember it was so worth it to me because right before I went away for my externship, they were very disappointed that I was leaving. But I'm like, I got into Nemacolin.
Oh, wow.
I'm like,
So you went from there to Nemacolin.
I went from there to Nemacolin.
So Nemacolin, the
The 5-star, 5-diamond, 3 Michelin star resort.
no.
Joe Hardy, let me call it.
Yes, Joe Hardy. Yes. And the recruiter said that she had been traveling for 12 weeks, and she went to like 6 different schools or whatever the case is, and she was only taking in 12 people.
Wow.
Wow.
And I almost believe it or not, I almost missed my interview because I was interviewing with Hershey, and the interview took so long that she went on lunch. And so the time that I had scheduled, I missed. And so I went and I told my advisor, I'm like almost in tears. I'm like, that was my number one choice. Please let me do this. Now, I went there and I was prepared for this interview. While I was in the catering banquet class in the culinary school, I had did this banquet for my church. It was for 250 people. It was the biggest banquet I had ever done, and I just did it. I told my pastor I want to do it, right? And so we went and bought like 13 New York strip loins, and the menu was chimichurri marinated New York strip loin, honey roasted chicken, confetti rice pilaf, herb roasted potatoes. I wanted to do green bean almondine, but Woolies wouldn't sell me the green beans.
What?
Sorry for another time.
Make walk, run, lift always be at my ear.
I'm trying to put it behind your head so you can see
Yeah.
it.
It's okay. Put it over my ear. I want to see it.
Woolies wouldn't let me wouldn't sell me the green beans, so I had to change. So I did zucchini, squash, and red peppers, and then I did broccoli and cauliflower. Then I had a huge salad bar, and I had my whole youth group create these little fruit tarts with creme diplomat in there, with pastry cream and fresh sliced fruit like kiwi and strawberry and all this type of stuff, and then like a apricot glaze over top. It was phenomenal. And so I had all of these pictures, and I mean, it was like,
Sounds phenomenal.
it was the most beautiful I had ever seen our fellowship hall decorated.
Doesn't
So
it
of course
sound
I took all these different pictures, and I'm coming and I had the menus, and I had all these different things, and I was prepared for this meeting. And I sat down with the recruiter, and she, and I'm like, look, and so this is this, and she's just looking at me like, and I'm like, but this isn't, she's, okay. And she closed the folder and pushed the folder to the side. And she said, why did you start cooking? Right?
Oh.
What are you here for? Why us? And I just spoke from my heart, and I said, because I believe that Nemacolin is like the pinnacle. Like that is the place that
really
I see myself growing. I mean, it's the real deal.
Yeah.
You know, and so I got it, and I was there, and I mean, it was unbelievable. Thank you. The things that I learned there was like, it was unmatched, you know. And to add the cream on top is at the end I got hired on at Lautrec, their 5-star 5-diamond restaurant. Now I got the job because of this. Again, funny story. Maybe funny for me, but maybe you'll appreciate this, right? So they have a local restaurant up there by the name of Autumn. Okay, and this particular night, I was still an extern. I wasn't, a hired employee or anything. I was still an extern. The chef, the executive chef, and the cook one were off. And so I'm looking at, we're like sitting at the bar and talking to him. And I'm like, well, what are we going to do? Like, who's going to run this? And so they said, well, the cook 2 is going to run the saute station. You're going to run grill and this person. I said, whoa!
Wait, me?
Like, what are we talking about? Right? Now, this is a whole different level of cooking. They literally had a pan filled with butter. It was called meat butter. That's what we call it, is meat butter. Okay? And the concept behind this butter is when you pulled it off the grill, you stick it in the butter and the fat, and it will force the juice to stay in the meat. You would let it cool down in the butter.
It is interesting.
Right? And then you pull it out and you bring it back up to temperature. The purpose is to not allow, to keep the medium rare, and the medium, and the rare, but it also adds this different dimension of flavor to it, right? And so I'm like, you want me to do what? Now here's the kicker for this. Literally, the first and only ticket of the entire evening
Was.
I cannot make this up. I cannot make this up. Was 50 different steaks. Different cuts. All
It was
different
one
temperatures.
table of whatever.
It was
people.
one party of 50 different people.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I saw the ticket. I said, okay. So I immediately began to organize my grill. My well dones were in the back over here. My medium wells were in the back over here. My medium rares were here. My rares were here. I got them marked. I put them in the meat butter and all that type of stuff, and I had it organized. And would you believe that not one steak came back?
Nice job. Yeah.
And as a result of that, the executive chef from the 5-star restaurant had heard of this, and she approached me the next day and said, "Are you interested in coming to work for me?"
And that's it.
And that was it.
And that was your dream from the beginning.
Wow.
That
So
was
you
it.
talk about manifestation. You really did manifest it. Like you had that in your mind. You went to school. That was in your goal, and it came. You brought your energy level to what you wanted, and it worked.
And now I'm at that same exciting place all over again because of my spices.
Right.
Right.
I was it.
Yeah, I was literally.
This is your next challenge.
Yeah.
That's like check. And
Oh,
now
because
I'm
listen,
on. I'm on to
so
the next thing.
Here's the thing. I left cooking for about 2 years because of the high demand. I had 3 small children, and I'm like, I need to be at home with my kids. I have a 5-year-old and a set of twins that are 2. I gotta be home with my kids.
Wow.
I can't be in the-
You got your head full.
Yeah, I can't be in the kitchen at 6 in the morning and not getting home until 11, and then gotta get up and do the same thing 6 days a week. And then for fear of somebody not showing up on the 7th day, and then I gotta get up and do the same thing again. That's ridiculous.
And so
right?
now you're cooking for hard to please all over again.
Was you still as an employee of somewhere else? You basically said, okay, I gotta take care of my kids.
Yeah, so
you weren't an employee.
I had this is, fast forward to me being, I said I can't do it, and so I went and started selling life insurance. And I was selling life insurance.
So wait, so you gave up cooking?
I gave up cooking altogether.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
started selling life insurance.
Look at his face, the expression,
Wow.
the
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
your whole face has
Yeah.
changed.
Yeah.
Your whole face has changed right now.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I know that feeling.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And so, I made a lot of money. It was, it
What you had to do.
it was what I had to do.
Yeah.
And so
You
what brought me
have
back.
you have to do what you have to do.
Yeah. What brought me back was my sister had hired a private chef, and she wanted me to be on the phone call to consult with her to make sure that she was asking the right questions. Right? And so he's on the phone and he's saying, well, this is the package that I offer and this is what I do and such and so forth. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. And maybe you can think about this and you can think about this and such and so forth. And we hang up the phone call. And not even 30 seconds later, my phone rings again with both of my sisters on the phone. And I'm listening to this on speakerphone. What are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, you clearly still love the cooking. Why are you not doing this anymore, right? Yeah. So I said, okay, all right, So I said, well, he said, you need to be thinking about doing this. You should do the private chef. You should do that. I said, all right, well, give me 24 hours to think about this, and I'll get back with you. So we hung up the phone. My wife is sitting in the dining room, eavesdropping on the conversation. She goes, are you actually thinking about doing that? And I said, why would you support me? And she goes, absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So in 24 hours, I had conceived my spices. I had decided to do the private chef. And now I'm here. Yeah. And I'm at the place now where, every now and again, I just sit back and I think, that day that I was sitting on my couch, I had come up with the grill dust because, we had already been doing the pork butts and the ribs and everything. I said, I make ribs, and the ribs one time is delicious, and the next time I don't know what I did to get it got delicious the next time.
Yeah.
I always grab the same seasonings.
Yeah.
It's always the same seasoning, but I can never get it right. So I said, well, let me take this as a base, and I'm going to add some of this, and add some of this, and add some of this. And now, I'm like, this is it, right? The shallot salt was made because I was introduced to shallot salt by a company called Heinemann that used to be in Pittsburgh. It's no longer in Pittsburgh anymore.
Okay.
It was a bottle maybe this is an 8-ounce bottle. This is 8 ounces of product. It was probably 2 ounces. I sell this for $10. They sold theirs for $14 for 2 ounces. Whoa. And the flavor profile wasn't even anywhere near this. Okay? It took me a while to perfect it, but I have gold here. Okay?
Right.
Black garlic salt was literally because black garlic was way too expensive. It was $40 a pound. Ooh. And I had a chance to do, and believe it or not, okay? Chefs don't often get the chance to take their gloves off and cook what they want to cook. Okay? But this particular time, the CEO, his investment buddies, allowed me to cook what I wanted to cook. And I did just that. I got the foie gras, I got the sweetbreads, I got the wild boar lamb chops. I'm doing, consomme. Just all the classical fun stuff. The stuff that takes hours and there's a process and people don't understand. Why are you doing all that? I'm like, because I can, right? And so I had this black garlic left over. It was $40 a pound. I'm like, what in the world? I cannot just throw this away. So I'm going to preserve it. And so I put it in some salt. And, because I had already done the shallot salt, I said I'm going to preserve it and put it in some salt. And I made it without anything in mind, and I sat it on the shelf and let it be. And then one of my cooks said, hey, I was making the demi, and I put some of this in here. You have to taste it.
Oh.
And I said, okay. And I tasted it, and I'm like, that is phenomenal.
I got something.
And so from there, again, I tweaked the recipe and got it to where it is, and we're here.
Beautiful. And so now you are, it's very similar to what you and Enzo did to me. How old are you going to get? Sing, do what you're supposed to do, entertain. Because I also was in insurance. Mm-hmm. And you're like, stop it. And she's like, I support you. Go out. Mm-hmm. So now here we are doing all of this because of that, her saying, I support you. Because of your wife saying, I support you. Mm-hmm. So it all works out.
You can see the passion.
But yeah, your whole face changed when you talked about getting into insurance. Not that insurance is a bad thing, folks.
It's not. There's people that really love it.
It's not your corner of the sky. It's not your corner of the sky. It's not what you are meant to do. It's not your talent. And you have to, happiness from within, you have to do what you are passionate about. You have to do your talent.
My favorite time of the year is Thanksgiving. You know why? Because I tell everybody that comes to my house, for Thanksgiving, I'm cooking what I want to cook, how I want to cook it. If you don't want to eat it, you don't have to eat it. But Thanksgiving is my meal, and it's on my budget, and I cook what I want to cook.
Right.
and I take as much time and I do as extensive, and I'll make the stock and I'll cut up the little wall and I'll have this and this sauce here and that sauce there and this and such and so forth, and that meal will be what I want it to be. And if the children don't like it, if the wife doesn't like it, if the family doesn't like it, that's fine, because I get one day a year to
It's
cook
mine.
what I want to cook, and I don't care if anybody likes it. They do end up liking it.
So what, go ahead. What I'm hearing, and again, listening to you, and in my brain, I've said it so many times. When you're able to do this, and no time constraints, nobody telling you what to do, how to do it, it's fun. You do it all day long, and you're in heaven. You're performing. Same thing. There again, I've known you, but there again, I've watched just that little bit down the strip.
Right.
When you kicked it in, you were in your own little world.
I'm not myself.
Yeah.
I leave it. I leave my body.
Right there, yeah.
I mean, I don't leave my body, but I leave.
Yeah. Mentally,
Same thing.
You kind of get into that like sweet spot.
You're in the zone, and they say in the zone, but you're on autopilot.
Yep.
And she'll say to me, like we did Little Italy days, and while I was performing, the singing and the dancing, because someone asks me, how do you know, do you choreograph it, what do you do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like the singing and the dancing all take care of themselves. I don't do anything. I'm not in the body. The body's doing its thing, and I'm looking at, okay, grandma over there is looking maybe a little disinterested. I got to get her. Oh, look, oh, that one's, he's dancing over there. Let's see. I'll pull him up the next time. So there's a mental part of me that's doing a whole separate thing than what my body and my singing is doing. That's autopilot. That just goes.
Yeah.
There's a mental, and I don't know, is it like that with cooking? So because there has to be a point where you're creating there has to be a point where you're creating what you're going to serve. So that would be the mental part, where I think the hands and the chopping and the mixing would all be
mechanical,
like autopilot. Same thing with you. It has to be autopilot.
And like you said, and just listening to you and listening, it's the same thing. I'm in that little.
You're in the zone.
Mm-hmm. But when you see everybody having a good time eating, when you're seeing everybody a little different, but when those folks walk in and they're okay after the loss of somebody, right. I know I did my job.
You did your job,
yes.
Exactly.
I want to see that too. So because what's the mechanics of being a funeral director, right? Or there's the mechanics. But I would think that the mechanics for you would already be automatic, like autopilot. But you're already thinking in your mind. You're probably mentally thinking about the family.
Absolutely,
right? Because it becomes like
so it's almost
nature.
like So I mean, it's so weird to say this, but it's almost like you're entertaining. You're not entertaining. You're having a party. You're having people over. So you're presenting your place. You're presenting the funeral home because you're bringing guests in. Like really, you are bringing guests.
Oh yeah, I mean, in a sense,
it is. It really is.
So what I'm hearing now is it's like, so there's a level of mastery that happens here, right? Like when I went to culinary school, I learned how to use my hands, right? And I learned I learned how to make the knife an extension of me. I learned how to make the stove an extension of me. So if I'm doing the sauteing and the grilling, and I know all that sort of stuff, right? But that part is the technical part, right? But now the love that I put into what I'm doing, right, now exudes and can in the overflow now falls on the other people, right? And so when I'm watching the people sit around the table eat, even at Thanksgiving, even at my meal, right? And they're eating my golden shallot mashed potatoes that I've made from scratch, and it's perfect, right? And my turkey that I based it with the garlic herb butter that I've got up under the skin and rubbed and got it brined, and it's nice and it's perfect golden brown, and I stuffed it with my apples and onions.
Thanksgiving.
All these different things that are happening there, right? And that love that I put into it and I was in the zone, and I wasn't thinking about how long it took, and I wasn't thinking about what the price tag was or anything. Just the fact that I was able to do it, and it was something that again, that I've reached a level of mastery at. So it becomes this like, I'm just pouring out a part of me, right? That I've done well, and I'm pouring out a part of me. So even in your funeral directing, right? It's, the mechanics, the technicality of it is already done. Right, that's the level of mastery. Your music is that's your level of mastery. But it's the love that you're pouring out, and that's what's affecting the people. Right. And I think that's why we do what we do. And that's, if we can't get to that level of like happiness with what we're doing, why do it?
Right.
That's why I left life insurance.
Right, it's just a job.
Yeah.
And they say if you
Do something.
the minute you stop doing things out of necessity, taking jobs because of necessity,
Right.
is the minute you will succeed, because now you're not doing it just for necessity.
Right.
You're doing what you're meant to be doing. And that's the corner of the sky. That's everything I talk about in my book. That's the reason why we're doing these happiness from within tours. That's why I asked you. I meet you at the festival, and I'm like, you have to be on our show because of your energy level. I was like, you have to be on our show. You just, I know that there's a story here. You have to come to our house and cook.
And the energy.
And she was, and Shannon was like, I don't have to cook tonight. Like, I love this idea.
Yeah. That's wonderful. So
Yeah,
we're gonna
let's
go back to that together.
Okay.
And
So wait, that food's done then?
This was done.
Oh, okay. Well, we're almost ready to eat, everybody.
Yeah.
So, very quick, one of the things that we come up with while you're doing the salad is, do you believe that being happy is something you were born with, or do you think it is a choice you make every day to be happy?
Trick question.
So I'm a spiritual man,
Okay.
and we
talked about this in our last episode. We talked about this in our last episode.
Yeah.
That's one of our checks.
Well.
On the happiness from within. That is one of the checks. So go ahead.
Right. So I believe, the Bible says that God can give us joy that surpasses all understanding, right? The joy is different than happiness, right? Because happiness can be affected by, some terrible news. Now you're not happy, you're sad, right? But the joy that you have on the inside, like the joy of cooking, right? That's what's the lady that Julia Child, right?
Julia Child.
The joy of cooking, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if the oven is too hot and I hit a hot spot, and so the lasagna that I put so much time and effort into, and the beautiful layers, and I got all the wonderful ingredients, and then I put it in the oven at somebody else's house because I was preparing this for a party, and their gas oven had a hot spot, and now the back left corner of my lasagna is black. But it's still the joy of cooking, right? Now, happiness, I think, is the honor, the privilege to be able to be in a situation where you can be happy, right? I find myself being happy when I'm cooking, right? Now, especially cooking what I want to cook, how I want to cook it. Because again, I got to make this point clear. Chefs don't often get to cook what they want to cook, how they want to cook it. Okay? Your whole life is dictated by the consumer, right? I don't mean to point to you, right? But it's dictated by what those people want, So
And how
again,
they want it.
right?
Yeah.
So I say we eat for one of two reasons. We eat either out of necessity for sustenance, or we eat for an experience.
Right.
So if you go to a 5-star restaurant and you order the chef's tasting menu, and that menu may have something strange on it that you're not familiar with, like chicken with popcorn, and you're like, what in the world is this? No, they created an experience for you, right? Because we eat with all 5 senses. So now we're talking about not only just the smell and then we see it, right? Then we hear it, right? Then we can feel it with our mouth, right? But then and then also the texture, right? So the chicken with the crunchiness of the popcorn, right? Or even the difference of the flavor profiles, right? You have like the sweet and the piquant, right? Or the spicy, right? Or you have the salty and the sweet, or the bitter and the sour. You know, there's all those different things that kind of come into play there. So that's a very convoluted way to say that I believe that if you're privileged enough to be happy, because sometimes, you know, life just doesn't lend itself to having you be happy. But if you're privileged enough to be happy, just indulge. Just dig into it.
So, he brought a different take, totally. Because we're saying happiness from within. But he is saying what we're saying with one simple word: joy.
Yeah.
Joy. So it's not happiness from within; it's feeling joy. So this was a
Because I believe happiness can be dictated by a situation.
Right.
Yeah,
Joy
but this,
can't be dictated by a
this was a
situation.
good. This was a very good.
little spin on it.
Yeah, this was a good spin that we came up with, because it is true. It is joy that we're. I think.
I thought you might like
I think it is. Show them. And it is joy that we're speaking of.
Hey, that's happiness right there. That's what that is.
Everybody loves that. Everybody loves that. Everybody loves that.
That made me very happy to see that.
So it is. It's joy. It's joy. So because I say, yes, there are going to be times that you can't be happy. Circumstances aren't going to allow that. But I always have the optimism of it's going to be okay.
Right.
So I'm always in a positive state. I don't let it get to me.
Do you have a steel?
And I never thought of what you were saying.
Like something to hold the edge of the knife?
Your profession
no.
is not any different than our professions, really, because you are in the business of helping others, and I think that is a huge thing for joy.
I mean, don't they
And
say
I'm just
they
using joy instead of happiness, though, because joy is right.
Yeah. The other thing that I've noticed just listening, and it came from both of you, and I've also lived it as well. I think you lived it too. You have to have the support of that significant other.
Oh, yes.
You
It makes such a big difference.
My
totally
current wife, if I could explain myself in a certain way, for the most part, she will believe and have that faith in me.
Right.
And say, hey, it sounds really good, I'm behind you. Just like Shannon and just like your wife. Mm-hmm. My ex, whole different ballgame, and that was pure misery.
Yeah. No, you know what? You're right.
You didn't have the
To
support.
try to have to sell it to somebody that's not buying.
Why aren't you home? You have your own business. You could be at home. You shouldn't do this. You know, hire somebody. You know.
And I say this to Shannon all the time, that you have to meet that person at the right time of your life.
Oh yes.
Because you weren't the same. It's in the book. It's in the book. You weren't the same person that you were, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. In the book, I talk about every night you die. Every night you die, because those circumstances of that day changed Billy Mancini for that day. So when he wakes up the next morning, he is a different Billy Mancini. And that continually happens every night. When you go to sleep, that person dies, and you are a whole new person the next day because of the circumstances of what you lived through that day.
I find it it's very funny.
And people say you grow. And I say, yes, you grow. But the other you is gone. That person is gone. It's a whole new Billy. You met us tonight. You are a whole new Michael.
You have no idea. The things that have happened since we met down there has been life changing.
Right? So you're not the same Michael that I met 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I find, when I think back, me and my wife, we reflect over our lives and we find that there were many times we were in the same room and never knew each other prior to us getting married.
And
We
isn't
went,
that crazy?
we went to the same concert. We were at the same events. When I met her for the first time, when I spoke to her for the first time, I had taken my mom to a women's conference. And I was surrounded by two pastors. Now, one pastor on this side of me, he said, "Hey, those girls look single." What does that mean? I don't know. But he said, "Those girls look single up there. Go introduce yourself." I said, "Okay." So I went up there and to her friend, I said, "Hi, I'm Michael," and she said, "Hi." You know, she wasn't for me. But for my wife now, I went up and I said, "Hi." I said, "Hi, I'm Michael." She said, "Hi, I'm Terry," and I just.
That's it.
That was it, right? Didn't think anything of it. 2 weeks later, because at the time I was on a dating app. I was on like Christian Mingle. I was on eHarmony and Match and everything. And so my sister said, "Why don't you get on blackpeoplemeet.com?" And I'm like, "I'm not getting on blackpeoplemeet.com. I just don't want that. I don't want that." So she said, "No, just do it." It was the cheapest one. I said, "I'll do a trial." I get on, I'll do a trial. I'll just try it out, right? I get on, and probably within an hour, I get a message from my current wife saying, "You look familiar. Where have I seen you before?" And I said, "I just saw," and then as we got to talking, I realized I had just seen her 2 weeks before.
Right.
It was in the books after that. We met. She came to my church for a concert that I was doing. I was the minister of music at my church, and it's our annual concert that I was leading. And so she came, and I had my nice suit on, and I was, everything was fancy. And so she came, and I asked her out. We went on a date that Friday, and we've been together ever since.
So
Wow.
wait. First of all, is that the same thing with you in your life? No?
I've known her mom and dad a lot longer than my wife, and there's no rhyme or reason. At least she's 12 and a half years old.
Wait, so you didn't know her at all beforehand?
No, I knew her mom and dad.
Right.
I knew of her.
Right.
You know, I was.
But you didn't know her?
No, I'd always talk to her dad.
So her phone number was 771-7016. My phone number growing up was 331-7016. She would get calls at her house from my family because they mixed up the exchange. She was in mortgage banking. I was in mortgage banking. We went to the same mortgage banker conferences and dinners for almost 10 years. Never met. Never met. And what else was there?
Well, the mortgage industry fell apart.
Yeah.
And
There's that part.
The mortgage industry fell apart.
And then we auditioned for the Meadows.
The Meadows.
To be dealers.
Because somebody told me they were having singing dealers.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, well, I would love to do that, right? I'm going to get to perform and deal cards. Yeah, great. So what they wanted was you had to go there. They wanted singers and performers to make sure you were outgoing enough to be a dealer. So I went there to sing, and then I get done. She's before me. So when you get done and they like you, they tell you to go take a test. You have to go take a math test. I'm like, what?
Math test.
Math? Are you kidding me? And luckily, she left her scratch paper in the room with the answers. So when I went to take the test, I had her scratch paper to make sure my answers were correct. And that's why I got it because of her. But then we were at school together, and I didn't even like her. I hated her because she was so good at dealing crap stealers, and I was so bad. And so I hated her. And then afterwards we got on the same shift. The math thing. We got on the same shift, and then one day it was like she kind of moved her ponytail, and I was like, "Oh, we should date." And then that was it.
She said she moved her ponytail. That's what does it.
She did, like she flipped her ponytail, and I was like, "Huh."
You know, it's interesting how that comes together. People often ask, "How did I know?" You know, that age-old question. How did you know that she was the one?
Right.
My answer is this: I met enough counterfeits that I knew when the real deal was there.
That's right.
I love that.
I had dated when I had got to a place of healing because I was broken. I had been engaged before, and it was a terrible situation. And so when I got to a place of healing, I started to date these women, and I learned about myself. I learned about, through the grace of God, I learned about friendship. I learned about self-value and appreciation. I learned about being with someone that was ambitious. I learned about, everything that glitter isn't gold, right? I learned about people wanting to uplift me, right? I learned about all those different types of things. And so when I met my wife, it was like seamless. I mean, it was like our first date. We went to a movie, and I was in the cooking industry, so I forgot. This is pretty funny. I completely forgot how busy Friday nights are. Okay, in the restaurant.
Oh, right, yeah.
Didn't make the reservation. Didn't think about it at all. Okay, in my mind, I said, well, we're gonna go out, and because I think at the time I remembered that they would sell like chicken wings or like full like a hot menu at the top of AMC Theater down in the waterfront.
Right. Yes.
And so we went down there, and we sat down, and I looked at the menu. I said, "This is terrible. This is absolutely terrible." So we went to Longhorns down in the Strip. I mean, down in the waterfront, and as we were walking over there, she had on these heels, and there was like a hole in the cement, right? And she fell, and I caught her. And so we got over there. So that's a little, we laugh about that sometimes. But we went over there, and it was like it's like a 2.5 hour wait, right? And I'm like, this is terrible. So we just go back and we watch the movie, and we went to go see The Gambler by Mark Wahlberg. Now, mind you, at the time I was working at Lutherland, which is a camp, like a year-round camp up in Butler. And so I was exhausted all the time because it was like I was working crazy long days, and it was very hard work. Very, very meaningful, but very hard work. So we got into the movies. We sit down. I think I may have made it past the credits, and I'm asleep the whole time. Wow. I mean, just knocked out.
Right? What a date you were.
I wake up from me eating. From me sleeping, and we go to eat. And when they ordered, she always told me I get the story wrong.
I believe her.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The server came over. She said, "What can I get you?" She ordered a 2 pork chop dinner. Okay, I don't care what she did with the other pork chop. What it meant to me was that she was not afraid to eat in front of me. Right. So at that point, because I was
She's a girl for me.
I was getting a big 6 steak with the mushroom and the onions and all this type of stuff. She's getting a 2 pork chop meal. This is a done deal.
Yeah.
Like, we get along great. I slept through the movie. She still came to dinner with me.
She didn't leave me in the theater.
Oh, it was great.
That is great.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
How long?
So we just celebrated. Just last week we celebrated 7 years.
Okay, excellent.
Oh, congratulations.
Excellent.
That's very
Married
nice,
or
very
together?
nice.
Married.
Married.
So
Okay.
8 years together. So I proposed a year to the day that we met.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay.
A year to the day. I knew that I was going to marry her. I had already had the ring, but I knew, like I didn't really have a plan or whatever. But I knew for sure that I was going to marry her. She had graduated from Carlow College, and we had left the graduation, and we went over to her sister's house to celebrate. Okay. And her family from Baltimore had come in. My sisters and my mother was there, and I mean the house was full of people just celebrating this woman that I had grown to love. And she had her hat on with the tassel and everything. And I'm looking at her, and I said, "Man, I could do this forever." Oh. And that was it.
I think fashion and everything is
You're unbelievable. I'm so
absolutely
All
unbelievable.
right, what are we making now?
Okay,
Let's
so
go.
we have our salad. The salad is finished.
Oh,
we just did the
Pretty. Oh my
Let's see.
god.
yeah. We did the peppers here, the red peppers that you provided, the hot pepper. We have some tomatoes. We have I was going back and forth between the aged balsamic and the fig balsamic. I went with the fig. It's just what touched my heart.
Fig habanero is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Tuscan herb oil, so that is delicious. So what I'd like to do is us to taste that first, because it has the shallot.
Fig habanero is
Yeah.
the fig habanero from the Olive Tap is my favorite. I tell you guys that all the time.
Yeah.
Fig habanero, you gotta get it.
I'm gonna have to start. So that's the Olive Tap in downtown.
The Olive Tap in downtown in the Strip District, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And is he carrying your stuff?
Not yet. I didn't
Well,
even know.
he will be after tonight. He will be. Hersh will be carrying your stuff after tonight. 'Cause we're
Okay.
gonna go talk to him tomorrow.
Yes.
We are. We're going on because this is just unbelievable.
So do you like to bake as much? Because people usually either do one or the other.
So when I first went to culinary school, I thought in my mind that I was gonna do patisserie. When I first went down there, I'm like, I'm interested in the baking of it, right? I want to do like the cakes and stuff like that. But when I walked in there and I saw the pots and the pans, and I saw that, like he said, the big vat of gumbo, I'm like, dude,
That's it.
that's it. I don't need anything else to tell me. I am good to go. You
So
know?
I was never a sweet person.
So wait a
I
minute.
bake sweet.
Stop for 1 minute. So I learned patisserie, and I learned sous chef, and then I learned what was the spices?
The Indian one.
Yeah, what were the spices?
Garam masala.
Say again?
Garam
And then
masala.
we learned garam masala. And if you want to learn about what all these things mean, you have to hit the link and watch the show. Patisserie. And we didn't even drink.
Not yet, anyway.
So I always joke because I was a cook, but I didn't. My mother's a fantastic cook. I didn't really bake. I made basic stuff, but I just wasn't a sweet tooth. This one has a sweet tooth like nothing I've ever seen. So,
From my
it's only
old
because I have a good
medication.
taster. So I'll make a buttercream, buttercream is this big thing. So I'll make a buttercream. And nope, this needs more of this, more of that. Oh, and so it's absolutely perfect to his taste. It's the
So
craziest
here's what I
thing.
love about baking. It is a science.
It's a science
When
thing.
I have the recipe that I like and that I've tweaked, like I have a cheesecake recipe that nobody else can tell me anything about. A creme brulee recipe, right? And it's one of those things where I've had to perfect it,
Yeah.
right? I have it down to a science, right? Like I know exactly what I'm going for. Like sometimes people make cheesecakes and it gets brown on the top. My cheesecake never gets brown on the top.
Okay.
It's perfectly done. Okay?
Right.
My creme brulee never curdles. It's perfect. And I'm a chef. Like I'm a cooking like a food chef.
Right.
I'm not a pastry chef.
Right.
Okay? But I've gotten it down to like perfection to where I know what it is that I'm going for and how to achieve it. Okay? And that's even because I mean then you deal with certain things like if I'm doing a creme brulee and I want to flavor it like a dulce de leche type of thing, or I'm doing like a raspberry, or I'm like folding Reese's cups into my cheesecake, right? I understand the concept there, right? Now the science or the skill, right? Because baking is more like science and cooking is more like a skill, right?
Yeah.
So like if I'm doing a consomme, you have to have skill to make a consomme. That's not something that takes a very long time. Consomme takes a very long time. You got to be able to do the raft and all the protein in the vegetables and it's a whole thing,
Yeah.
right? You're just not going to throw that together.
Right.
Right, but the baking is a science. So I have I started a bakery and I did months. I did months of practice and research on how to make a cake.
Okay.
Right, a cake
Yeah.
from scratch.
Right.
And understanding that building the pockets of air with just mixing the butter and sugar together is huge in the end result. Before you even add the eggs, okay? The butter and sugar on a medium speed for at least 7 minutes till it gets that nice aeration going on. Then you fold in the eggs and you let that go for a while, right? Until it starts to almost turn white. Before you add the other salt and the flavorings and the cinnamon and whatever, you know, if you're making spice cake or carrots, if you're making, you know, whatever the case is, before you add that stuff in there. And I'm not even talking about sponge cake. I'm talking about like a yellow butter cake or a chocolate butter cake, right? Which the flavor is night and day. Or
This is so amazing.
Right? Or some people like don't like it because the cake is too rich and they're used to the spongy gross cake that you get from Giant Eagle. Okay? Right? But if you do like the amount of time that it took me to perfect this cake, and I would do a yellow butter cake, and I would have it the nice rise, and the flavor was amazing, and then I'd do like a wild berry buttercream icing on top, and it would be fantastic, and I'd give it to these people. This cake is too dense. What is this? Right? But then they want the spongy stuff that comes out of a bucket that you just add the water or whatever to.
All right.
You know, but then I go in and I make them a white cake out of a box, and they go, "This is fantastic!" Right? And I'm like, right? You just lose it on something, right?
Yeah.
Right. But you know, things like the creme brulee and just having it melt in your mouth.
Yeah.
Right? And having the richness of the certain ingredients and just really like I mean, think like if you're cooking eggs, right? Like a chicken egg from Giant Eagle is different than if you have a friend that
Absolutely.
that it pops out the chicken and you gotta like wipe off the fecal matter and then you cook it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of
I'm
almost
always
like
on this one. So, when you get like the hen egg from someone that is raising chickens, it's a whole different ballgame. The yolk is so orange. Everything is
it's
so
unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
So you make a hollandaise sauce from that?
Tell them.
You make a hollandaise sauce from like a farm fresh egg. It'll be unreal the difference than if you get it from your Shop and Save or your Coons around the corner.
Right.
Okay? The flavor profile is just unbelievable. It's just unreal. So I mean, I remember I made duck ravioli. Whoa. And it's very difficult, you know, because the eggs are very sensitive. So I started off. I only needed to make probably like 24 of them, and I got 3 dozen. You know, one because I wanted to have just some duck eggs for myself. And so one of them broke, and I just said, well, let me just make some scrambled eggs, and I did it with my shallot salt. Okay, let me just tell you. Okay, the duck egg alone. Okay, and then with the shallot salt on top of that.
I cannot wait.
Okay, let's see the food.
Okay. Do you want to put that? Do you want the mushrooms and stuff in the same, or do you want to have separate bowls?
I'd say separate bowls because I want you to taste them separately, and then we can. I mean, this really could just be like a nice salad. Like all of these ingredients together could just go right into a nice salad.
I want to see what you're saying.
Yeah, like the sliced chicken on top of that. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this here. We'll do. I'm so excited for these mushrooms.
They look fabulous.
This is just insane. I am so sorry about you having to drive back.
No, it's no problem. Because again, you don't get to cook what you want to cook. You know, like I don't get to cook like this. My wife, she did make a meatloaf tonight, so.
So your wife cooks too?
Oh yeah, yeah. So there were a few moments where I knew that she was mine forever, and that was one of them. Our first meal, I think it was our second date. She said, "Come over, I'll cook for you." I said, "Okay." And she made some seared pork chops with cilantro lime rice and balsamic mushrooms with green beans. And she lived in Oakmont, so of course she had to go just get like a dessert from the Oakmont bakery.
Right, sure.
Yeah. And when I ate it, I'm like, yeah, this is it. if there was more nails to put in the coffin, she had already secured her space in my life at that point.
This one just had lots of Chinese takeout containers.
So we all have
He
to
had
live.
three he had three
He's good at other things.
He had 3 kids.
I don't cook.
Chinese takeout
I don't
containers.
I remember one
Lots of
time,
them.
Rachel Ray was looking for someone to be on the show, and they wanted a single dad, and so I got a call for it, and they said, "Well, what do you make like for your kids?" Like I make, they call it Daddy's pasta. It's pasta with a little bit of olive oil and Romano cheese, and that's it. That's my extent of cooking. Needless to say, that I didn't get booked for the show.
Okay, go ahead, boys.
We're gonna just taste a little bit of this so you can taste the seasonings. Okay? So we're gonna have, this is just a black garlic salt right on the zucchini. And then we have the shallot salt right on the mushrooms. And then we can make a salad after you get the deliciousness here. That's what it says on the back of my shirts for my business is experience deliciousness.
Love it. But we want to taste first.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna put it in there, right? Oh no, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Okay, so this is the
The mushrooms with the shallot salt.
Wait, so which one am I eating first?
The mushrooms with the shallot salt.
Wow, I am so excited about this.
Oh my god.
Are we in
These
trouble?
will be
I think we're in
phenomenal
trouble.
On top of a nice steak.
Mm-hmm.
I almost did that too. Instead of the chicken, I was gonna buy
Oh my God.
fillets.
Okay. So this is the
So good.
That's the shallot salt. Then the zucchini just has the black garlic salt.
wow.
There's that
There's
after
a hint.
after
What is
taste
that?
that you as
It's
you're
the black garlic. So the heating and the fermenting kind of makes it a little mild, but then that umami flavor profile comes
Yeah.
afterward.
Yeah.
And you think about it. When you eat it, you feel it right in the middle of your tongue. That's where you're tasting it.
oh my god, I
Wow.
love that. So good.
And everybody, these are like they take the
You were
guesswork
talking
out.
about the zucchini, right?
Yeah.
Right?
I have that.
Kick that.
It's
yeah.
almost like what do they call that? Because you would know.
After effect.
So now onto the salad. Because
Yeah.
so I just sprinkled a little of the shallot salt on there. I think the only thing that's missing is maybe a little fresh cracked black pepper. Have that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's good. Get some of the goodies in there. Make sure we get some more of the goodies in there.
Yes. It's a great meal here. It's a great meal.
We're gonna have to call your sisters and thank them
Yeah.
for getting you back
right?
into
Yeah,
getting you back
Right.
into cooking.
You guys, everybody, this has been,
Yeah.
you can't imagine. I watch it over and over again. Can you get in this in here? Watch it over and over again and see what he did. Get these spices. You won't go wrong. It's just so good. We're going to continue to eat and you're going to continue to watch because we're going to continue to talk. But I tell you, I wish you could taste it. I wish you
Oh,
could taste
very
it.
good.
Very, very good. Very good. Very good.
That last one too, huh?
Yeah, right? That little last piece, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
So I didn't have the salad yet.
Can't let a good mushroom.
So what did we use on the salad? We used the fig habanero, or no?
We did.
So we used the Olive Taps fig habanero.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. What did you
Isn't
say?
it amazing whenever the chef absolutely says it's
Loves
great
it
too?
Yeah, what?
The
what did
chef
you say?
just said it was great.
I didn't. What did you ask me?
No.
No, you said, oh my god, something.
Oh, no.
You're talking
because
about the flavor?
Yes.
Put the bite
Okay.
of it.
And the pepper. The peppers in there. Oh, that is, yeah. it's
So
good.
the red Well, there's the mixture, the red ones. So I've got these peppers, because I grew them. They're called Sweet Heat.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had one that was so hot I was dying,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest have been mild. These seem to be a little bit warmer.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's hot poblanos
Mm.
and hot green peppers. But none of them seem to be hot, but now they taste what the fig habanero I think has added to it. Just a little bit of elevation, I love it.
Really?
But did you taste what the shallot soda's done? Right? It's kind of like
That's
loosen
what
it
it
a little
is.
bit, right?
That's what it is.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh, it's exactly what it is. So good. Look at it, like we haven't eaten.
And then the Parmesan Romano cheese is just that's the goodness right on top.
Wow, so
Whoa.
good.
What is spiciness?
Oh, in the salad?
Yes.
The peppers.
Wow.
I think that might be my favorite part of it.
Really?
The spiciness. Yeah.
I like heat too.
Oh yeah.
I don't like
that is-
heat.
That is fantastic. My body doesn't like it, but I like it.
Yeah.
Very good.
The peppers are the red ones?
The red and the green ones are probably both hot.
Okay, so we're not gonna eat any more of those.
Yeah, I gave you
They were
extra
tomatoes.
goodies.
They're not tomatoes.
I gave you extra goodies just for that.
The tomatoes, well, that tomato was hot.
See that?
How was that tomato hot? Oh my god, so good.
No, that's excellent. Yes, excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
So now, you have to give Billy some time.
Well, all right, let's do the chicken.
That's a bite, huh?
That is a bite. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
You?
How can you get the smallest one over there?
Oh, because my wife made meatloaf.
Oh, so you better go home and eat.
Oh,
Yeah, my plate is probably already in the microwave.
oh my god.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts on the microwave?
It's good for what it's good for.
Shannon is she does not believe in microwave, she hates it.
Sometimes I don't believe it. I don't like what it does to your food. I really hate what it does.
So there's a way to heat things up, right? There's a way. So what I tend to do is I kind of go more for like the steaming effect. Okay. So what I would do is I would take like a wet paper towel, like soak it, and put it over my food. Right. Not only does that obviously protect it from going everywhere, but the wetness of the paper towel will steam it. So then it doesn't do that like crispy or make it hard or
Yeah.
like kind of chewify the food, if you will.
Nothing. I just want to see your expression.
Oh, wait till taste this chicken.
They're waiting for me. So this must be unbelievable. Oh my
The
god.
spice is fantastic.
Okay, which one is this now?
That's the grill dust. And it's
Everybody,
just,
this is grill dust.
it's just the grill
This
dust.
gold dust. Like this grill dust is great.
Literally
Wow.
perfect.
It's like the perfect blend of everything.
Yep.
So you wanted something that would hit every sense of your tongue.
You have the
And
sweet.
this did.
You have the salty. But it's not too salty, but it stands up. You have the sour from the lemon. You have the bitter that hits in the back of the tongue, and then you have that umami from the mushroom.
Oh my god. And you said you made this for pork, right?
Yeah.
Because I could imagine it on like and I'm not even a rib person, but
Uh-huh.
oh my
That's what I
god.
was thinking of.
So this is what I do for ribs
Imagine
when it
rib.
comes to this, right? I'll take some of this grill dust, I'll add a little oil, make it into a paste.
Yep.
Okay? And then I'll rub it on the meat. And I do another light dusting over top. Because the sugar that's in there, it's not a lot, but it's the brown sugar that's in there. And just for your information, it is organic brown sugar, so it is vegan friendly. So if you decide not to do it with ribs, or you want to do like it on like some jackfruit, or you want to do it on, maybe like some abalone mushrooms or something like that. Or even, this is another good thing, like sauteed tofu or portobellos, right?
Wow.
Like a real portobello, yeah.
Portobellos.
I've used it on turkey burgers. It's great on like seitan. It's great on. I mean, it's really just a good all around
Oh
seasoning.
my gosh, delicious. Yeah, this is fabulous.
So this is really bad for all of my family out there.
I gotta get some more mushrooms.
I probably won't tell any of you to watch this, so we can have this as our own little secret. Like, it's so good. I don't want them to know the secret recipe, right? Like, what do you put on that? Like, the chicken needs nothing.
Nothing.
No, that's what.
You just said that?
That's the pretty wild part. It's literally
The chicken needs nothing.
No, it was moist.
You don't even
Is
need
it
like
great?
barbecue sauce on this. It's just.
Barbecue sauce?
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, if you were, this was ribs, you wouldn't need a sauce. This is it.
Yeah.
So here's the ultimate question. So COVID, being that I cooked at home all the time and got better at cooking, I guess, and restaurants are having trouble finding people, and so the service isn't great. But I have found that I don't go out
Over
to
here,
eat.
it's mushrooms.
First of
Sorry
all,
about that spoon.
I went to this place, and we'll just say that, and had 2 burgers.
Oh,
It was $70 after tip. Oh, yeah, and I got water. If I tell you what he had, he'd give it away. So he had a drink, and 2 burgers, $70 when we walked away. And it was
Mediocre.
not even. It wasn't even mediocre. It really wasn't. I was so unimpressed. And it's been $70. So, and then it kept happening at different places.
I'm saving somebody 2 mushrooms. I don't know who that person is.
And I'm like, I'm done. If you can't cook, I will pay for a good meal. Absolutely, all day long. But if you can't cook like I can cook at home, and it's going to cost me so much more money, and the service is not going to be good, it's been driving me crazy. So do you?
Oh yeah.
Have the same experience when I go out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Well, what the heck?
So
So, wait. So the question is, knowing as well as you cook,
I was just gonna say that.
I mean,
when
it
you
goes
go
back-
out,
Yeah.
how do you justify eating when you know you can make it better?
So it goes back to the original statement of you eat for one of 2 reasons, right? You eat for sustenance or you eat for an experience. And if I go to a steakhouse, my purpose is to have an experience, okay? But there are times, for example, I went to a steakhouse, my bill was almost $500 and it was just me and my wife.
Well,
And I mean, we didn't have a bottle of wine.
I was saying, hopefully you had a few bottles of wine.
Yeah, we had 1 bottle of wine. we had steaks, and we were sold that this was a chef special, and it was a bourbon marinated steak, and such and so forth. And in my mind, you know how you have like these fleeting thoughts, but you're like, right, you just what it is. And so I ordered. I had a medium rare, and my wife had a medium well. My medium rare came out like Pittsburgh rare. It was as black as your shirt.
really?
And in the middle was raw.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, so the
Yeah.
exterior was
Black and burnt.
Yeah.
And it was like pink, like it was like
Yeah.
rare plus.
bloody.
Yeah. But her medium well was perfect grill marks.
Oh my god.
Perfect grill marks. The inside was perfect medium well. Like it was wonderful. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, because if I have this conversation with the server, it's gonna have to escalate to the chef because they're not gonna understand, right? So I'm like, it was our anniversary. I didn't want to
Yeah.
make a scene, and I don't normally make a scene,
Right.
but I'm like, you gotta know that I could cook this. I know exactly what they did, right? Only one of 2 things happened here. They either had a French top, and that's what they're trained to do, is because it's medium rare, they think that they want the black on the outside. I didn't ask for it Pittsburgh rare. I asked for it medium rare. I know what Pittsburgh rare is. I don't like my meat Pittsburgh rare. Right? I also know the history of Pittsburgh rare.
Right. Okay, go ahead. Afterwards, tell us.
Okay? So I didn't ask for that. I asked for medium rare. Right? Now, mind you, this is how I got hired into the 5-star, 5-diamond, 3 star restaurant. Right? It's because I got an order of 50 different steaks, all different cuts, and none of them came back. And so I had my perfect little grill marks on there, and I knew what I had to do in order to reheat them. I don't know if they had meat butter in the kitchen. It's not a staple for every steakhouse. It should be. I think it's a great concept, and it adds great flavor. But I don't know if they do that. But I do know that what you served me was subpar. And not only the cook should have caught that, but the chef should have caught that. Now, this same restaurant has, if you've been there, you probably know this, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. But they have, they have a dish, or a side dish of spinach and mushrooms, and it is one of the best sides I've had out. It is phenomenal. And it's just spinach and mushrooms. Mm-hmm. And it's like something they do something with like rosemary with the butter and the garlic and it's I obviously don't know they recreated it. Right.
Yep.
But I'm like, this is phenomenal. So it was great inspiration there. But the steak was just unbelievable. But Pittsburgh Rare, think back, we're in Stilltown, mm-hmm. right? This was the Still Mills. And so the guys would take their raw steaks to work, and they would because the bacteria doesn't grow on the inside of the meat; it grows on the outside of the meat first. Yeah. So what they would do is they'd have these like piping hot steel things, and they would just sear it on the pipe, burn it over, and that was a lunch. Wait, say this again. They would take their steak from home. They'd bring it.
It'd be raw,
and they'd sit it on a pipe that was on a steel pipe that was with the molten whatever, right. Or the steam or whatever it was, and then they would, cook it, and so it'd be black on the outside and that rare on the inside.
Pittsburgh rare. Yeah.
Never knew that.
Now I have had steaks like that, and I don't like them like that. And I'm more of a medium. I like it slightly pink in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Medium well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Depending on where you go, mm-hmm. they'll come up with their fancy words of saying, but I don't like it bloody red, but I don't like it absolutely well.
Here's my take on this too: is that each piece of meat has its optimal cooking temperature, mm-hmm. right? Like if you cook chicken past 180 degrees, it's that's where you have your dry chicken breast. Nobody wants to eat that,
right?
So then you have your steak, and it has everything to do with the marbling, right? So a sirloin, I could eat medium rare. Mm-hmm. If I have a Delmonico ribeye or something like that, Delmonico ribeye specifically, with all of that marbling in there, if it's not at least medium for me, I don't like it. Yeah. Because then the fat is rubbery, right? Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need any steak well done.
Right.
But like the New York strip, I'll probably have medium, mid-rare plus to medium. Yep. Now sirloin is probably mid-rare to mid-rare plus. Filet mignon is definitely mid-rare. I want my prime rib maybe mid-rare plus to medium. Nothing too much because then it gets too tough to chew.
Right.
And that's just
your taste.
Just my preference. Sure. And just knowing what heat does to the muscle, mm-hmm. right? And the coagulation and understanding that. I mean, there's literally there's a book out there that if you want to take your cooking to the next level in terms of understanding the science behind it, there's a book out there called On Food and Cooking, and the author is Harold McGee. They literally have a chapter just on cooking meat. And it talks about what happens once the meat gets to a certain temperature. So what happens when you get the meat to or like what's the science behind making pulled pork versus searing a steak versus grilling chicken versus cooking an egg, and what happens at the temperature and how it starts to coagulate and change physically from that liquid to that, more.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're cooking, do you always cook by temperature or do you cook by time?
More. It has to. Food safety says there's a combination of both.
Okay.
I gotta give the same answer, right?
Visual.
Yeah, like so. There's a feel, right? So, like I said, I didn't
Right, you didn't
tempt the chicken, but the chicken was fully done.
Yeah.
Right? There's a feel that I'm going for, right? I know that, like my sister, for example, if I cook her chicken, she wants it dry and like shoestring. Okay, that's how she likes her chicken. She also told me. Now I'm hoping that she'll watch this, but it still makes me chuckle a little bit because I didn't know this about her. She just told me the last time I saw her. She said I like my popcorn burnt a little bit. Right, so she puts it in a microwave and then intentionally burns it. I said, "What in the world is wrong with you?" But that's what she likes.
Yeah, right. Back to the everybody has different taste buds.
Yeah.
So, just a quick funny story. So, I've never been a big beef person. Steaks, just never been. So, I can't cook them good either because I've never been. When I was a kid, so let's go with 20-something, we were at my grandfather's country club, and we're having a dinner. And they were serving prime rib. And I ordered a burger or whatever, because I don't like beef, care for beef. And he, getting this, he can't hear, his two hearing aids, and he turns them off purposely. And across the table, this big round table, he's giving me this glare, because I didn't order the prime rib. So I'm like, all right, I'll take the prime rib. So I ordered the prime rib. How do you want it done? Well done. Oh my God, I got a worse look than that from him. So I said,
It's making
okay.
you cringe a little bit.
It gets even better. So I said, okay, medium, like, is that the right, like, is medium okay? So medium worked. So I get it, and it's pink. And that's just freaking me out. And so I said, can I have some ketchup? Oh my God, I swear to God, I thought he was just gonna like die right then and there. He's like, you're putting ketchup on prime rib? I don't like it. You're making me eat this, and I don't. It's chewy to me. I don't.
I get it.
And I mean, I think I probably ate some of it, but I don't remember. I just remember the whole story.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
That's probably the only prime rib I've ever eaten.
So it's one of those things for me. So the thing that again, this is what really makes me happy. It's taking, and again, this is different for everybody. So not all chefs think like this, and I'm not saying I'm better than anybody or anything. My mindset is, to the food that I cook, I have had enough time with it to be able to understand it and to perfect it. Okay? So like a lot of the foods, I have my own story behind it. So prime rib, for example, I played with it for a while, and I, because you come up under other chefs, right? And you watch how they do it, right? I see a chef put a prime rib in the oven for an hour at 350, right? And it shrinks up, and then the middle is pink, but the outsides are black, and it just then you have all these people that come, and I want it well done, and it's well done all the way to about like here, right? So then, not only are you like ruining this beautiful piece of meat, but you don't have the yield that you want either. So then we have this golf outing, and I'm not going to use any names, but we had this golf outing, and my boss said to me, Michael, the chef told us what he was going to do for this outing, and I just think it's a terrible idea for you not to be involved. I said, okay, but I can't like override this guy and tell him what I'm going to do.
This is at
This is at an undisclosed location.
All right, no, I would edit it out.
Yeah.
I just want to know for myself.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is so when they do their golf outing.
Okay.
So
You've already thrown under the bus twice. So.
So this guy is making these like it's for like 200 people or whatever. So he buys like 13 prime ribs and he needs to use my ovens and my slow cooker to make it work. And I'm like, well, you don't need all of those prime ribs. Like if you do the math on how much a literal man can eat, that's way too much prime rib. But if you cook it the way you cook it, then I understand. Because then all of the fat and it shrinks up and then you have this pool of liquid in the bottom and it's no good. So what I normally do is my prime rib goes in the oven at 225 in a convection oven, 250 in a conventional oven for 6 hours. And then the outside, and this is, you have to adjust if you're putting, 4 to 5 in an oven at a time, then you have to adjust the cooking time. But if I'm doing it at home, that's what I'm going to do. And so then you do end up with these medium well pieces on the outside, and then the middle is like a rare, like a true rare. Sure. So if in fact I'm in a restaurant and someone orders a well done, then I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut the medium well. I'm going to stick it in a hot well with the jus and let it sit there because I'm going to know what they ordered prior to me sending it out because then they get salads and such and so forth and it's going to sit in the jus and then right before I send it out I'm going to put it on a flat top if I have to or on the grill to brown it and then serve it with the jus so that I have the steak and it's still juicy and it's not chewy. But see, there's that level of mastery there, right? Where other people, this guy, he did this whole big crust of just seasonings and herbs and he just ruined it. And then it comes out and it's black and the pan looks like this all the time, which it wouldn't have looked like that if he ate it right away.
Yeah. Right.
But because of the reheat, but it looks like it looks like that all the way around. And there's like 20 of these prime ribs. And I'm like, and you want me to be on the carving station?
Oh. I'm
like, absolutely not. I'll tell you what we'll do. You go be on the carving station and I'll control flow of service. And that's exactly what I did. I said, send all your service back here, set me up 3 or 4 different, like the folding tables or whatever, and then we'll just put it like that. This person will, and give me my team and we'll have this, and this guy will put the salad on the plate, and this person will do this, and such and so forth, and it went out smoothly and everything, but I'm like, do not attribute my name to that final product. That was terrible. It was terrible. Oh my goodness, it was terrible. Like, my. Especially coming from a place that was so high standards. Now, I will tell you, that's not to say that the best, because it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't my favorite place to work. It was the most prestigious place I've worked. Where you hear the chef getting so upset that they're flinging plates at your head and it's a whole theatrical situation. Yeah. It is happening at that. Because you gotta figure, this person has dedicated their life
so
to
it's
get
Gordon Ramsay type.
Yeah. but it's not theatrical. They're really
doing it.
Like it's for real. Because if you put the peach jam on a plate wrong, it's a big deal. Because you don't know, and they don't give any indication. When the guy from Forbes Diamond things or AAA Star things or Michelin comes in, you have no idea when they're there. They give no inkling. They could be there with 3 other people. They could be there by themselves. They could be there with just one other person or whatever the case is. You have no idea. And then they go back to their hotel room and they write it up and then you get your whatever in the mail.
So every bit of jam better be the exact
I mean, and
same
especially if
size,
it's
flash,
gradual, and you got the little
yeah,
thing,
right,
and the
whole bit.
spacing, and literally, like, we weren't ever supposed to see this, but we got our eyes on the checklist for the Forbes 5-star thing, and it's like 150-point checklist,
Oh my God.
right? And some of it has nothing to do with the kitchen. It has everything to do with that facility has to have a concierge. There has to be 24-hour room service. There has to be a pool. There has to be this many elevators. There has to be. I mean, there's all these different things in there that plays into that, and it's only a portion that has to do with the kitchen. But the kitchen has to be,
Just immaculate.
I mean, just
it's-
perfect.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
and so the chef has dedicated their life in order to get this award.
Right.
You know, and then you award. So you have the four. I think it's Forbes 5-star, AAA 5 diamond, Michelin 3-star, Michelin 3-star, and then you have the James Beard Award, which is like the creme de la creme of awards. If you get the James Beard Award, you are somebody.
Wow. And the restaurant gets that award.
The chef gets that
The
award.
chef gets that award.
Yeah.
So the chef gets the award even though
The James Beard Award goes to the chef.
Okay, the rest
The
of it
5-star
goes-
diamond, right? I mean, they had to contribute,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yes.
like this is a
Okay.
5-star restaurant, so you may go to like a Holiday Inn and see that they're a 3-star whatever, right? But that has to do with the comfort of their bed. That has to do with the check-in process, the
Okay.
smoothness of this, and such and so forth. But to get those extra levels, like you can have everything, but then not have a pool.
Yeah, they did not.
Right? And so the Omni William Penn doesn't have a pool downtown. Right? They don't have a pool in their facility.
So you
they
can't.
they can never be a 5-star hotel.
Because they don't have a pool.
Because they don't have a pool. That's one of the things.
Wow. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew there were certain criteria that if, there's certain times you don't have the facilities, it's
Yeah.
not going to happen.
Yeah.
You
So you can get as high as you can.
Yeah.
You know, like the chef when I was
I never knew this.
I didn't-
because when I came back to Pittsburgh, I left Nemacolin and came back to Pittsburgh and worked at the Omni, and that guy was the real deal. This Jackie Francois is the real deal chef. He's at an Omni somewhere Midwest or something like that.
But he was at our.
But he was at our Omni, and he was the real deal. Like he was the chef that you wanted to be up under because of this skill. Like it was like he probably forgot more things than I would have ever known in the kitchen.
Wow.
Like I mean, he was super talented.
It is so
it's
neat.
amazing,
This
yeah.
is just. I have to tell you, this surpassed anything we could have imagined. This being tonight.
Yeah, this is
It really
great.
is.
Good.
That much involved.
I mean, and from what you prepared to your stories, everything. I'm so glad you came here. Thank you.
I'm glad to be here.
I mean, this is really,
Really
this is
was.
really, after this meal, this is happiness from within.
Yeah.
No, very.
The whole thing was like, oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah. Wow.
So one more shameless plug.
Go ahead. Yes. No, don't worry. They're going to be plugged so much.
Oh, yeah.
If you're looking to locate my spices, go to www.michaelsmanna.com/shop and you'll be able to purchase the items online. Locally, you can find me in Pennsylvania Macaroni Company, Strip District Meats, the Community Market in Bloomfield, Tom Friday's Market over in Brighton Heights, and the Wilkins Township Shop and Save out in Monroeville. Okay, but I also offer under the Michaels Manna umbrella me to come to you and bring my experience to you, which is a private chef dinner, private chef experience. It can be anywhere from 2 people to 30 people, and it can be as interactive as an experience as you would like it to be. It's gonna give you that like high end meal type of situation where like in this type of setup we're looking at I'm providing you with the first course and then I'm watching you as I'm preparing the next course to see when you're ready. So I'm clearing out those plates, I'm serving you, at table side, and I'm like in this scenario, this would be perfect because I'm cooking everything, I'm prepping here, and I'm just turning around and plating it in front of you, right? And so once that's finished, then we go on to the next course, and it's a predetermined menu that we discuss kind of back and forth, and price-wise, it depends on what the budget is, on what the overall budget is, maybe what you want to spend per person, or if you just say, hey, I don't care what it costs, this is the menu that I want, or, which I love,
Chef's choice.
Chef's Choice.
I think he's going to say Chef's Choice.
Yes. Whatever it is that you want to cook, let me know. And that's wonderful.
He's gonna do
That's
it.
wonderful. Yeah.
So how far do you go?
All the way through dessert.
Yeah, for sure. And I tend to always make a little extra for myself. Okay? No. But okay.
And so you do catering also?
I do. I also do catering.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So let me tell you. I mean, listen. There's a genesis to all of this. I'm so passionate about what I do because I care deeply about the end result. I got into catering because out of all of the parties that I've gone to, there's probably been like 2 to 3 that have been memorable because of how good the food was. And I've been to a lot of parties. Can you imagine how many weddings and birthday parties and all that type of stuff? And then out of all of those, and only like 2 that, like, I remember I went to one of my best friend in the world. She had her wedding at a place in the Poconos, and they had this meal, and it was like seared salmon with like a Belgian endive salad, and like this crazy dessert, like this creme brulee something, and then and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember that food. But most times it's just this, you spend all this money, especially for like work luncheons. That's the thing that really gets me. You spend a lot of money, you get dressed up, you're around all these prestigious people, and then I get this dry chicken with some sauce that they sauced 3 hours ago. From some
Tony that's Apollo.
Yeah. From a chef. Yeah. From a chef that should know how, because there is a way to prepare this ahead of time and to hold it, right? And account for the holding time.
Yeah.
I can't believe you ever left being a chef.
Sometimes you need to walk away to know what you should be doing.
Well, I told my wife, I said, if at any point this industry, and I said that, this industry affects my family, because we had just had our first son, our family or our marriage, I'm done.
What industry was that?
The food industry.
Food industry.
The food industry.
Really?
I said that because when it was a frozen out of the freezer type of situation. That first day that I was there, I got hired. It was this whole process and whatever the case is. But I went in there and I'm talking with the guys, and I watched how lunch service went, and I watched, the guys and they're prepping and all this type of stuff, and I got to meet everybody, and they're showing me the different restaurants and things like that. And dinner service is at 5 o'clock, and it's 4:15. And what's happening for dinner? Where's dinner? What's going on? And so he says, "Don't worry about it. I got it." And he goes in the freezer and he picks out this thing of Stouffer's stuffed green peppers, puts it in a pan, pops it out of the little foil pack, puts it in a pan, covers it with a can of tomato sauce, and puts it in the steamer for 30 minutes. Pulls it out, and that's the dinner special.
Wow, that place, yeah.
And I said, now listen, these, on a low end, these people were paying like $5,000 a month to stay there.
I can't say the name on this one, but I'm going to put that in there.
Yeah. And so I mean, it's like, it's crazy. And so I remember even just, as the chef, I'm sitting there and I'm watching the service, like the service, and the boss or the food and beverage director tried to explain to me what the flow of service was like, and I just didn't understand. I thought that I did, but I didn't understand. He said, there's a rush of people that comes at 5 o'clock, and then it tapers off at about 5:30. but all of your orders will be in no longer than 5:45. But dinner, like the restaurant closes at 7. So I'm like, okay, I thought I understood. When that printer started printing, it did not stop until every single order came in. Now, what happened, which is not what should happen in a professional restaurant, right? This is probably something like that on that ship that you experienced, right? This guy took a ticket, this guy took a ticket, this guy took a ticket, and they all scrambled.
Oh my god.
And I'm standing on this side of the window, and I'm like, and so I just wanted to watch. I said, the first day, I'm not going to make any corrections. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to watch because I want to see what happens, right? It was so terrible. It was instinctive, like a visceral response. I said, everybody shut up. You go stand there, you go stand there, you go stand there. I told the manager, you be quiet until I tell you that something is ready to come up. Everybody's going to listen to me. Everybody hang the tickets up. And I said, I need this, I need this, I need this. And as the food started coming out, everybody was like, oh, this is
easier.
This is crazy.
Much easier,
Yeah. You know, and there was another restaurant. We don't have to go into that story, but it was a similar situation. It was completely chaotic, and I wasn't even the head chef. They hired me as a line chef. I was just supposed to be the guy doing the pasta down on the end, but it was terrible. And every Saturday, it was this terrible. So it is the dirtiest restaurant I've ever worked at. I mean, hands down. I've never seen a restaurant more dirty. It was disgusting. It was absolutely disgusting. To the point where I just overrode the chef and I went to the owner. I'm like, I'm coming in on Sunday and I'm cleaning your line. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I'm cleaning your line because if you get a health inspection and they actually look, that's a wrap.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and he's like, what are you? And so then the chef was offended, and they're like, well, I'm coming in Sunday too. Great, grab the hose, and we're gonna get this done. Yeah, great, fantastic.
Yeah.
Keep everybody, bring everybody in, so we can all do this. Like it was crazy, but I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, I love what I do, and to see somebody else like abuse it was just like it just hurt me.
You see that too?
Oh,
I see it with other.
cringe walking into funeral homes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hate going to funeral homes if they ain't mine.
Thank you.
I absolutely cringe.
Yeah.
Like, shut that box, man. That guy looks horrible. Put the tubes back in him.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, it's just, no, it's horrible.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like when other mortgage people do mortgages either.
No. She hates to go with me to see anybody or see anything. She hates to go watch anything entertainment with me because I'm watching it totally different.
Oh my god, no, it's
So
totally
you probably do it
different.
too because you're music. Yeah. So I'm watching it totally different. And it's not even so much like, oh, they're off key or whatever. It's just that, so I'm not a singer or a musician. I'm a performer.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at, why would they move that way? Why did they do that? You know, or even, there comes a level of performance where you want to give, right? You want to get the audience. But if you overperform, right? So I'm giving too much to bring people in, then they don't come in. When you know that sweet spot of to hold back, that's what draws them in. And so many performers overperform, and I'm talking about performers now, you know, major performers. And I watch them and I'm like, I'm just sick. I'm like, please, like, can we leave? And I see so many people overperform and I'm just like, so she says, I hate to go with you because you're looking at stuff that.
But you know what though? It's like there's a saying that says success leaves clues, right? Or like it leaves a trail. So it doesn't matter what the industry is. If you've tapped a level of mastery in your industry, then you can identify that in somewhere else.
I'm constantly watching if I go somewhere, I am, you know, we go on vacation or we go somewhere, they're gonna service. I'm constantly looking at the decor. Something's broke or something's not. How the people are serving or reacting or what they're doing. I mean, constantly. In fact, we'd always go down to Arizona And I actually talked to Russell, the owner, one day, and I said, look, don't take this the wrong way, man. I said, but I'm watching every freaking movie you make. And I said, it's just amazing how you can wake up at a certain time. I see you go through and you just continuously at a steady pace continue to go and everything just works. So yeah, you pick up those things and I know things are really different and man, just enjoy yourself.
Because there's certain things that like stand out. There's certain things that stand out when you meet somebody that just delivers excellence, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the industry. Like you can go into a Walmart and see the outlier, right? You can see that person that is just like fantastic. And you're like, man, I need to be in their line, right? Because you see so many humdrums, just the people that just. That's how I knew my wife. Because I met so many counterfeits.
That's a great line. That is a great line.
Yeah, that is.
That really is a great line. Okay, we're done.
That's a wrap.
Woohoo! This is fantastic.
Thank you guys so much. We had a great time tonight, right?
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, it's okay.
Thank you so much.
Well, it was certainly a pleasure. My wife was definitely excited for me to come over and be with you all. So
Your wife's
There's no traffic now.
the kids are probably bouncing off the wall still.
no, the kids are asleep for sure.
Yeah,
They were asleep for